Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
'Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. There's still time. The AFTN Soccer Show, broadcasting on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. I'm Michael McCall.
And I'm Zachary Adam Eisenhower.
And we're back with another packed podcast. Lots of Whitecaps chat, lots of MLS chat, lots of CPL chat, great music along the way. We'll bring you some audio from some chats we've had this week, some post-game audio from stuff as well. We're going to be talking some serious matters as well over the course of the show. So strap yourselves in. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one. And a lot of talking points, I'm sure, will be coming out of it. All of that we will get into shortly. But it's been an odd weekend, Zach. No MLS or CPL games for us to go to on a Saturday. It just felt strange.
I didn't mind the Friday, other than the fact that Kirk had a drag route event, so he missed out on a Thomas Müller goal. But no, I didn't mind the Friday night, and I kind of liked it for my weekend. Actually, it was the first Saturday in I can't remember how many months where I had some stuff to do for work, but it was stuff I could do from home. And got to spend some time with the family at home and kind of just chill out and catch up on a few things. And yeah, it was odd though. That part was odd. But I enjoyed the Friday evening.
I like Friday night under the lights. Usually I'm at a VMSL game or a college game and it's that. It is weird seeing the Whitecaps being the only MLS game that was on. We'll talk about the crowd when we talk about the game. We're going to talk about the KC game in part 2. It allowed me on Saturday to get along to Burnaby Lake. I was at the provincial A-Cup quarter-final between Croatia and Columbus, and that was entertaining affair, that one. I got some videos that I put out on Twitter of the goals. We're going to have them up on YouTube as well with some other match highlights. So I hadn't been out doing those for last couple of years, so I've missed doing that and got to see like Gordy and some of the other folk that I'd seen at the games locally. So that was good. And then this coming weekend, I'm hoping I can get to both the A-Cup semi-finals, depending on when they're played, with the Whitecaps game being on the Saturday evening. Should be free. I know it's the Rise home opener on Friday, and right now my plan is to go to that. I was initially going to be doing some commentary that night, but we've switched the broadcast schedule around. So I'm either going to be at the Rise game or an A-Cup semi-final. So we'll see how that goes. But I'll tweet out what games are coming up, because folk definitely should get out and support some local soccer. And I think that's going to bring us a segue to what we're going to talk about for most of this first part. Now, if you're a regular listener, you'll know outside of Hot Chocolate Boys season, we've been starting the shows with our Canadian Soccer A to Z. We're going to finish part 1 with our A to Z for this week. We're up to the letter Q. But I want to talk about a really important matter off the bat whilst everyone's listening to the show, before folks start fast-forwarding through the bits they don't want to hear or whatever, because it's something we've talked a lot about in the last year or so. We haven't talked much about it in the last couple of weeks, and it's basically the future of Vancouver Whitecaps, talking about supporting local soccer. Save the Caps. Now, many of you will have seen on Friday night, just before the game, the Southsiders, Rain City Brigade, Vancouver Albion, all the supporters groups put out statements, and a website was launched, savethecaps.com, where there's assets that you can print off, put on social media. Outside the toilets at Kinsman Field at the Altitude TSS game I was at today, there was a Save the Caps poster that someone had stuck on the toilets. Now, by the end of the game, the toilets had flooded, so I don't know if that was a bad omen or not. But hopefully not. But yeah, savethecaps.com, and there's a big push now. Save the Caps, using the hashtag on all social media, putting pressure on a lot of things. And I want to talk about it in this part, why it's kind of come to the fore right now, why it's important, why it's very much needed, and why we need to talk about it at this point in time. So we won't rehash how we got here, because we basically all know the Whitecaps are up for sale. Now, when that was announced in December 2023, I think it caught many by surprise, but not everyone, because folk had heard some murmurs for a time that Greg Kerfoot was maybe wanting to sell, and there's always rumours around football. A lot of them just grow arms and legs, and they're not true. My understanding of the situation, though, Zach, is much like when the sale went through for Sporting Kansas City, people didn't know the club were for sale. And then the sale went through, and folk were like, oh, I didn't even know they were for sale. That was ideally the Whitecaps' plan, is what I've been led to believe. The feelers had been put out for about a whole year before they actually made the public announcement that the club was going to be up for sale. But there was no takers from those initial putting it out there. So then the club went public to try and get suitors to come in and to buy the club. Axel Schuster has talked a lot about plan A is to keep the club in the city with a new stadium. There's a plan B, a plan C, all the way through to plan Z. Plan Z would be no one wants to buy the club to keep it in Vancouver. The only people that want to buy the club are those parties that are interested in moving the club away from the city. And again, no official confirmation in this, because Axel's kind of gone a little bit radio silent recently.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of rumours, there's a lot of murmurs. Fans have heard it, media have heard it, others have heard it as well, that there's some serious money from Las Vegas investors sniffing around the club. And at this point in time, and this is something that Axel has basically come out and said, there is nobody interested in buying the Whitecaps to keep it in the city with the stadium situation the way it is. But even beyond that, the only money that's really on the table right now, and this is where the worry's coming from, why this campaign is important, are people that are wanting to buy the club and move it from Vancouver. Literally, Axel's plan Z.
Yeah. So as people are listening to this, there's probably there's probably people who've heard some of the same things we've had, but there's probably some who haven't heard these same things. And then they're probably not super excited what's coming through their earbuds or whatever right now.
Yeah. Now, again, my understanding is nothing's been signed, because there's some rumours been doing the rounds the last couple of weeks that the Whitecaps have already been sold to Vegas. That does not appear to be the case, but that is an offer that is in right now. And there's plans in Vegas to build a whole soccer-specific stadium, a baseball stadium, an entertainment complex, much as kind of what the Whitecaps have got an MOU to explore up at Hastings Park. we need to look at this stadium issue because I think that is clouding things a little bit, Zach. It's obviously tied into it because, as mentioned, no one wants to buy the club in the current situation. Don Garber saying a few times last year and this year that the situation is untenable has not helped.
No.
Because anyone that might be interested in buying the club is going to hear those words and go, well, why would I be buying a club if the stadium's untenable? We all know the Whitecaps either need a way better deal at BC Place, their own stadium, which is the preferred option, but this is actually clouding the bigger picture, as are a number of the steps, if we want to look at it that way, that have happened this year. So new sponsorship money coming in, it's great. The club need that. More ticket sales coming in, it's great. The club need that. Pavco waiving the concessions right, parking, maybe exploring other options to give the Whitecaps up to an additional $2.5 million a year. Again, not insignificant, and the club need that. All these things together start to add up, but we have to be brutally honest. They're small drops in the ocean compared to what the Whitecaps are needing, which is an extra 40 million or so a year in revenue. But even if they get a new stadium and everything goes through, the fundamental issue here, Zach, is unless somebody comes in and puts up the money to buy the club from Greg Kerfoot, the other owners, whether it's in part a big investment, because Kerfoot and Mallet have said they're quite happy to now explore the options of keeping some shares in the club and an ownership part of it. If they can't find an owner that wants to put the money in and keep them in Vancouver, all these other things will count for nothing. We need to find somebody that wants to buy the club and keep it here.
Yeah. And like you said, one of the biggest detriments to that is having an adequate venue and a venue that you can, and I hate this word, but monetize to maybe not to the max, but to obviously much more than you can a government-run facility.
Because the problem with the new stadium as well, of course, is the Whitecaps have said they don't want public money, government money. So you're either expecting the owner to fund that, or you're going into partnership with like housing developers or builders so that they get a control of that side of it. Maybe First Nation groups, if there's going to be a casino, so that they get that side of it. But it's still a lot of money. And we've got to be honest here, because folk always mention like Ryan Reynolds and stuff like that. He bought Wrexham.
Yeah.
An absolute fraction of what it cost to get into MLS.
Yeah. And that was part of, I think, the business model side of things.
The money for MLS clubs is obscene.
Yeah. And then he bought it with a way to create revenue that they never had in terms of having a TV show and all these different things.
And now look at them. It's like it's a money-making machine. And his investments, I don't know how many fold it is now, but it is. But like him and others can buy into lower leagues in the UK and Europe for a fraction of what it would be to be in the Whitecaps. Expansion fees are insane.
Which is one of the drivers up of the cost of the club.
The value of the Whitecaps, 450 to 500 million. There's not a lot of folk that associate with Vancouver that's just going to want to drop that money and buying the club. And therein lies the big problem. And this is why there is this campaign. This past week, we've had Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim going public with, we want to bring an MLB team here, an expansion team.
Now, you and I haven't talked about this.
No.
What the heck is this about?
Well, first of all, I would say I like baseball. I get out to the Canadians when I can. I've been to games down in the US. My first sporting experience in North America was a baseball game in Cleveland. Actually, it might even have been in Toronto. So I love baseball. It would be great to have an MLB team here. I don't think it's feasible because of, again, costs, facilities for one thing. A lot of people have seen this and we've all made the same comment. Why don't you look at keeping the major league team that's here, before you look at bringing another one in.
Yeah.
And then baseball fans or non-soccer fans are like, well, why can you not be happy? This doesn't mean that you can't have both. No, we can't. Like, we could have both. I'd love to have both. It doesn't, no one's saying that. What we're saying, though, is we can't get a facility for one of the teams we've already got here. Concentrate on that before trying to get this. But it feels like pie in the sky and electioneering to bring an MLB team here.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of baseball over the course of my life, but I wouldn't call myself a fan of baseball. I grew up in Toronto, so I went to like quite a few Blue Jays games, and I've been to the Nat a few times. I've been to, where have I been to? I think maybe only Phoenix is where I think maybe. I don't think I've never been to a game in Seattle. I might go with have some friends who are big into that, but sometime I might do that for fun.
They're long. I was having this discussion with Caitlin. We're going off on a tangent already. I was saying to her, I think one of the reasons that soccer hasn't been as popular is because it's short, and North American audiences are used to 3 hour plus football games and baseball and basketball. I watched some basketball this week, and the last 2 minutes of a game went on for about 25 minutes. And that's what fans are used to. It just happened to be on. It was a playoff game. It was really tight. And I was like, oh, I'll just watch this. There's a minute 40 left. Then it ended up going to overtime as well. But anyway, fans are used to that whole experience. But you look at the Whitecaps' attendances. They're drawing the biggest crowds that they've ever drawn, regularly over 20,000. It's a great atmosphere. It's a winning team. It's a team that's a lot of fun to watch, let's be honest. And people are going to the games, loving it, telling friends, bringing them along. Canucks fans are like, oh, we should maybe go and watch this. It's a much more fun experience than watching our team be terrible. So everything on the pitch is going so right for the Whitecaps, and everything off it is at a really concerning moment right now. And that's why it's important. Everyone gets along to the website. You can sign the wall. David Ousted's petition. As much, I still fully believe, even if you had 100,000 signatures on that petition, it's not going to change anything if you can't find somebody that's got the money to buy the team.
Yeah.
But the Save the Crew campaign, which we all remember from recent times, it was that campaign and the guy behind that campaign that did so much work and sold the benefits of keeping a team in Columbus that found the new ownership group. That saved the team.
Yeah.
And Precourt got what he wanted in Austin, but Columbus were saved. And the guy behind that whole campaign did so much work and saved that club. We might be at that stage now here in Vancouver. We have to find ownership groups, consortiums, whatever, and put pressure on politicians. Not so much pressure on businesses, but speak to businesses to get them to make pledges. If the Whitecaps stay in town, we'll be a sponsor. We'll do this for you. That's the kind of stage that we are at just now. Yeah,
which seems a little bit, seems dire and in some ways desperate, which I guess it is. And again, I don't really say that, don't use those terms with no judgment or whatever, but it's crazy to think, like you said, that at the peak of where they're at in the MLS era, they could be gone overnight or the end of the season or the next year or whatever. Like it's just mind-boggling to think that this is the best they've done, and which actually, again, I think we've said this part before, but it probably makes them more attractive to a buyer.
Well, yeah, because you're getting a championship winning team because the contracts are owned by the league. And the league has a big part to play in this because the league, the owners, have to ratify any relocation. That has to be done at a board of governors meeting. Now, there's just been one, and this is a big presumption to make, but knowing how football works and how a lot of things get leaked to the likes of Tom Bogert and The Athletic from sources, if anything had been discussed or agreed upon at that meeting, it would have leaked by now.
Mm.
So the next governor's meeting is at the All-Star game in July. So that is why this is a very important moment for the Whitecaps' future. It needs to be raised. There needs to be a lot of public action. The supporters groups on Saturday before the game against Colorado, they're doing a big march, a Save the Caps march from Dublin Calling to the stadium, leaving at 6:30. Need to have a big turnout for that. Need to get awareness there. Media will be there to cover it. If you can get to that march, please head along to Dublin Calling. We'll put it out on social media as well as a reminder on Saturday to go on that march.
Are you going to be on the street kind of covering it?
I hope to get down for it, yeah. We need to find this person, all of us, or people. And as much as I'm against multi-club ownership, as much as I'm against Saudi ownership, I would take either of those at this stage in time. That's where we're at.
That's where we're at. Okay, yeah, wow. I didn't think I'd heard you say those things, but
I know. It's like Red Bull's not going to because they're already in. Man City's not going to because they're already in. I would take either of those as ownership options right now.
I think there'd be some people in the community here that'd be torn if PIR or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, we will add a North America.
Maybe this says a lot about my moral code, but if it was that or lose the club, I take that. I know it's sport washing and everything, and that's bad around that, but we're basically at this dire stage. And if you look at Greg Kerfoot, the majority Whitecaps owner, he has done so much for Canadian soccer. He has done so much for Whitecaps soccer. He saved the Whitecaps and he brought the name back in the USL days in 2000. He's invested heavily in the Whitecaps Academy, over $1 million a year ploughed into the academy. Now, folk might say we've not seen and reaped full rewards from that. I think he would probably say the same. But he supported the women's game when others wouldn't.
Heavily, yeah.
The women's national team success, so much of that is because of funding early on in the process from Greg Kerfoot.
Yep. It's true.
The NSL, having an owner like Greg Kerfoot owning Vancouver Rise, again, helped get that league off the ground. He's done so much in that capacity as well. All the good that he has done in Canadian football, and like we mentioned him in our A to Z and under K for his legacy in football. If the Whitecaps leave town with him as the owner, that is what he's going to be remembered for. He's going to be remembered as the guy that was in charge of the Whitecaps when they left town. And all the other work that he's done, all the good that he's done for Canadian football, will be mostly forgotten.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that. Right, yeah, he'll go from the one who saved them to the one who, I guess you could say, allow them, oversaw their demise, at least in the city. Yeah.
The flip side of that is he is the owner and he's entitled to sell when he wants to own.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he has put so much of his own money into football that it would be unfair to criticise him for that. And I'm not saying that we are criticising him for that. I'm just saying that's what his legacy will be. That will be how he's remembered. Yeah,
you're talking about how the public in general would perceive all of that. Yeah. I think that's probably, you're probably not far off on that.
Well, there's also questions like, why is there the urgency now for the stadium? Where was this urgency 5 years ago? Nothing's changed at BC Place. So why was there the urgency now to get this new stadium deal? And like obviously Greg tried to build his own stadium.
Yep.
And it was shot down. Remember, because Q is our A to Z, and that got me thinking of Queen's Park and what could have been for Whitecaps too. They couldn't get that stadium built.
That was so frustrating. That was literally a political move.
Yeah, and that's where we are in this city. And there's no guarantee that the Hastings Stadium would get the go-ahead, especially with a mayoral election coming up. Now, what can the government do more than they've done? Well, one of the things that Don Garber asked for or threw out there in November when he was here was that PAFCO hand the ownership of the stadium to the Whitecaps, or the running of the stadium to the Whitecaps. And it could be that the Whitecaps give them financial money, PAFCO keep the land, they keep the stadium, Whitecaps run it, Whitecaps make money from it. To me, that feels like a great scenario. It's something we've not been able to pin Axel down to if that is a feasible working option. And like with Axel not doing media, and you've got to think the last time he did media, it didn't go totally well because
he was trying to clarify things.
He was trying to clarify things he'd said before, saying, I don't know where that came from. And it's like literally from your mouth. So I don't know if it's like, let's just keep a low profile just now. He has always said months could go by and you hear nothing, and then you'll hear something. But everything that folk are hearing, whether it has grown arms and legs, whether it's Chinese whispers, it's not good things that we're hearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be good for Axel, Kerfoot, Mallet, somebody to have another meeting about this with media, with supporters, just to address it. It's very concerning. And I wanted to start the show with this because it's so important and because it's quite a downer. And I didn't want folk to be listening at the end of the podcast as we talked about this and be quite down or in the middle. It's at this stage now that me as Mr. Optimist, glass half full, I never describe myself as optimistic or pessimistic, Zach. I always say I'm a realist.
Mm-hmm.
And the realism just now is the Whitecaps are not in a good place off the pitch in terms of staying in the city.
Yeah, during this kind of ride of things, even when they were put up for sale, I thought, oh, something's going to happen. Kind of like some of their games where they give up a lead and I'm like, no, they're going to come back. This team, where they're at, how far they've come, the way they fight and have resilience, they'll find a way. When it comes to this off the field stuff and a stadium and people to either own or invest that will want to keep it here, it is feeling pretty bleak at the moment. And yeah, that's why you have a David Osted saying, hey, I don't want this to actually come to fruition without trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
It's why you have obviously the supporters.
We said at the time the timing seemed very odd.
Now
we're maybe seeing why.
The timing
You've
seemed
probably
very...
heard the same things as well because it's rife in BC soccer circles.
Yeah, because a I sent you a message a few weeks ago saying, and I won't talk about who sent the message or whatever, but a message from someone I trust and whatever, and they were saying, this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the Vegas thing. Like, have you or Michael heard this? Is this true? What's going on? And so I was just like, I haven't heard anything. Michael knows more, and as we were talking, it was like, yeah, more and more. This is what's out there, and it's making people obviously feel very unsettled.
Some positive signs, I would say, in the other direction, is the Whitecaps recently had their meeting with the FIFA and the government to announce the mini pitch legacy from the World Cup, and the Whitecaps are overseeing that. They've signed players to long-term extensions, and you would be hoping that is because they've said, look, you're signing to stay in Vancouver. You're not seeing an exodus of staff from the front office. That's usually a worrying sign.
Yeah.
So they're all positives. We might be wrong, and it might not be as dire as we've made it out to be, but we can't take the risk. Head over to savethecaps.com, sign the wall. You'll find ways that you can help. Write to MLA, write to other politicians. If you know business owners, try and get them to make a pledge that they'll support the Whitecaps. All those things are there. If you can get to Dublin Calling before the game on Saturday in March from 6:30, please do that as well. Use the Save the Caps hashtag wherever you can. Print off the posters, put them wherever you can legally.
Yeah.
And
Southsiders are encouraging people to make their own banners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Raise awareness. I would expect there'll be a visual display as well at the game on Saturday. We need to raise awareness. We need to have other supporters groups, other supporters from around the league,
which is happening.
pundits from around the league, yes, to
Yeah,
back this. Because Sacramento fans have come out with banners saying, we don't want to get into MLS by taking the Whitecaps.
yeah, which is something. Do I mean, you know how, yeah, I mean, the Save the Crew movement, which was kind of like league wide, like all the supporters, all cities, there's people who are like, hey, we back them. And there's momentum for this now with Vancouver. One of the ways you know this is real, like people are genuinely supportive, is there's been a banner in front of the ECS that says "Save the Caps," right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they hate the Whitecaps. Like that's one of the clubs they hate the most, if not the most. Okay, they hate Portland the most.
They hate Portland a bit more.
It's a club that they hate the second most.
Would they do Save the Timbers?
No, they might do burn it down. No, but no, but literally, so when I saw that
Yeah.
banner, then you're like, okay, yeah, people, this is real. This has got legs, and hopefully it can, yeah, play that kind of saving, helpful role that it's meant to.
I'm sorry it's doom and gloom to kick things off. As I say, I hope everyone is hearing the wrong things on this and we are going in the right direction. We'll bring you more if we find out more. But let's get a little bit more upbeat, I think, for the rest of the show. It's time for this episode's Canadian Soccer A to Z. So we're up to the letter Q, Zach. Not too much more to go. I'm still hoping we'll have this done. I haven't worked it out, but I had timed it so it would be round about the World Cup kicking off. So I think we still are on target for that. And we're up to arguably one of the more difficult letters, Q.
I have three.
Oh, well, I've got two.
Okay.
And I've obviously thought a little out of the box, as I like to do in this segment. So you get to go first. So let's
Whoa.
get your main cue.
So I'm sure, obviously, this is one of your two, I'm guessing. But I think you can't do this kind of list and talk about whatever involvement and impact on the game or whatever without talking about Quinn.
That was not one of my two, but only because I was sure you would take Quinn.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, they've obviously made contributions to football on the pitch in terms of some of the trophies they've won. We think of specifically of what they've done with the national team, with the women's national team, the bronze in 2026, the gold in 2021, some other smaller tournaments as well. But with the Seattle Reign, they lifted the NWSL Shield and the Women's Cup in 2022, and then of course they had the honor and privilege to raise the inaugural Diana B. Matheson Cup this last year in 2025, which was a huge and momentous and historic occasion for Canadian football. Yeah, Quinn in 2020, Quinn came out as non-binary and transgender, using gender-neutral pronouns, and changed their name by adopting their prior surname as a mononym, and that's just reading from their Wikipedia page. But obviously, that's a huge thing, and we won't get into the ins and outs of that I guess broader conversation or whatever. Quinn has I think kind of chosen to, my understanding, they've chosen to remain eligible, I guess, or whatever, for playing women's sport, and I feel that's really important at this time, and will pursue other things after their playing career is over. Yeah, Quinn, I think, is an important part of Canadian football, and is, I think, again, you talk about Q being a hard letter. Yeah, in one sense it is hard, but I think you can't have the list without Quinn.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you were going to go for Quinn. They're a player that their story's bigger than the game itself because of the barriers that they've broken down. And yeah, Quinn was always going to get in as one of the Qs. My main Q, and it follows a trend I've done with some other things, is I'm going to go for Quebec, Quebecois. So
Nice.
we covered Montreal Impact under I, and obviously the biggest club in Quebec, 2 USL championships, 5 Canadian championships. Haven't quite done it at the MLS level, although they found a way to success, Zach, which is don't have a permanent manager and you can score goals and win matches.
Yeah, yeah. Kirk told me Latour scored today. What a player that we often use in EAFC, and he was really, really excited about that. But yeah, it's
But
crazy.
Quebec soccer, university levels, Montreal Carabine have won 2 men's U Sport titles, 3 women's. Laval's won titles, Sherbrooke's won titles as well. And there's so much great youth talent. If you look at recent Canada Soccer Nationals at U15, U17 level, so many of those have been won by Quebec teams, and it's because they've embraced the immigrants that's come to the province, and a lot of immigrants that come to Canada come obviously from soccer countries, soccer loving countries, and you see the success in Quebec with that. And if you want to look at some actual Quebecois players that have made it to the top of the game, on the men's side, Samuel Piette, Ishmael Kone, Max Crepeau, Patrice Bernier, all players made big impacts with the national team. Some still are. On the women's side, Vanessa Gilles, Evelyn Vienne, and of course, Rianne Wilkinson is classed as
Yep.
Quebecois as well.
Did you say Amy Walsh on the list?
I didn't. Is she from?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that. But there's another good one with Amy, who's obviously then doing well in the broadcasting side of things as well. I think, though, when you look at how well they do at youth level, it is disappointing for me that the club, Montreal, haven't done better in MLS. And we won't get into all the whys and why nots of that just now. But you do feel it's. I spoke about PEI last week under P as punching above their weight. It kind of feels Quebec's a little bit punching under what it should be. But that is one of the things I love about Supra. The new CPL team, they want to have a big Quebec flavour, local players, develop these local players, and I wish them all the success in doing that. I love that idea. So for me, my cue is Quebec.
Do you want to do your second one now, and I'll do my other two?
Okay, so my second one is just a bit of a fun one. We can have a little quiz with this as well, just to kind of have some fun after all the depressive stuff talking about the Whitecaps. So my other cue is quick off the mark, aka quickest goals. So I had a look at what the quickest goals were for the 3 Canadian MLS teams and the 2 Canadian national teams. So I want to see if you can guess what any of these are.
Ooh.
67 seconds is the quickest ever goal in Canadian men's national team history.
Wow. Okay. Can I ask questions?
Mm-hmm.
Was the game played in Canada?
No.
Was it in Europe?
No.
Was it in the States?
No.
Oh my. The Caribbean.
No.
Africa?
No.
Asia?
No.
South America?
No.
Wait, what's left?
The Middle East.
Oh. Wait, was it Fonzie's goal?
Fonzie's goal.
Oh my goodness.
67 seconds
How did I
against
get
Croatia.
How did I get that? I was there.
I know. Heading home, the first ever goal for Canada at a World Cup finals. And I mean, it was special for so many reasons. The fastest in national team history, the fastest goal of that World Cup, the first ever Canadian goal at a World Cup, but also 67 being his jersey number at the
Yeah.
Caps.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It
I won't get you to try and guess the next two because we'll be here all night if we do. So 29 seconds.
you just give me the year and
Well, this is TFC, so I don't think you'll get this in a million years. TFC
really? Tell me what year.
against Atlanta on June 26th, 2019. Tsubasa Endo.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
So that's those ones. 22 seconds is the Montreal Impact's fastest ever goal, as
Give me,
was, but also
give
for
me,
CF Montreal.
give me the date and
It was against Toronto on July 3rd, 2013, in a 3-all draw at BMO Field. Initials AR.
oh, no, I don't know.
Andres Romero.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I remember him now.
So these last two. 19 seconds was the quickest Canadian women's national team goal of all time against Australia at the 2016 Rio Olympics. It's also the fastest goal in women's soccer in Olympic history.
Is it Sinclair?
No, Janine Becky.
Oh, that was going to be my next guess from 20. Okay, yeah, good.
And the fastest goal.
Actually, that's not her name anymore.
I know. I've got in brackets here as was.
Yeah, that's true.
15 seconds is the fastest ever Whitecaps goal
Okay,
at BC Place
yeah.
on May 31st, 2023. A
Oh,
6-2 win for the Caps against Houston. A
2023.
player that is no longer with the Whitecaps.
2023. Striker?
Midfielder.
Oh. Is he currently still in MLS?
No.
Is he retired?
No.
Man. Give me the initials?
PV.
Oh, I know it's not P for games. Oh, oh no, he's in Europe.
There's going to be folks screaming at
Yeah,
wherever
I'm
they're
sure.
listening this from.
I'm sure.
In coffee shops.
My memory is not what it used to be. It's
There's folk driving right now,
yeah, just
walking
yelling.
the dog in coffee shops going, it's Pedro Vite, Zach! It's
Oh,
Pedro
yeah,
Vite!
sorry. PV, yeah, of course.
15 seconds.
I remember that now, actually.
So, yeah, that was my fun cue. Quick, off the mark.
My meaningful one is a person we both know. You might know them better than me because I haven't talked to him in like years. He was the what was his title? Team manager and general manager of the Canadian men's national team from like 2000 to 2018 or something crazy. The gentleman's name is Morgan Quarry. He's now, you probably know him because he's involved with Burnaby FC.
Burnaby, yes. He is one of the owners of Burnaby, and his brother is one of the owners of Brendan's, one of the owners of TSS.
Oh, there you go.
As am I.
I don't think I knew that was his brother. Okay. But Morgan, I got to meet, yeah, obviously from my connection to the men's national team over the years. And he was always just really kind and generous. Yeah, good with his time and good to the supporters. And yeah, really, really, and helpful in certain situations.
A big servant to the BC soccer and the national team.
Yeah. So yeah, like any player from that era will, I think, probably speaks very highly of him. My other one, which again you might contest, is someone whose first name starts with Q. Their last name does not, but they're known to their friends and teammates as simply Q.
Okay, I'll take that.
And it's Quillian Roberts, who's a keeper, who scored a goal for Canada at was it U20 World Cup?
Possibly. It was against England. I remember that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. He's still only 31 years old.
Is he still playing?
Yeah, he's playing in he plays for Western Suburbs FC, who are in New Zealand.
New Zealand, yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was at I think Alan Koch was at Eastern Suburbs.
Yeah.
Alan Koch was at the Altitude TSS game I was at today.
And he went on to not represent Canada, but Guyana. So he's had 21 games for their first team. In 2011, Roberts was called up to the Canada U17s ahead of the 2011 World Cup. He headed the tournament as the backup to which keeper? There's a question for you.
Ooh, Sirois or Pantemis?
Close, but no. Maxime Crépeau.
Ah.
But injuries forced Roberts to play in the second group stage game against England.
But Max was injured.
In the 87th minute, with Canada trailing 2-1, Roberts kicked the ball into the England box from inside his own half, which bounced over English keeper. Which keeper was it for England? I think he might actually be the number one right now.
Pickford.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Jordan Pickford. And into the back of the net. The goal was the first scored by a goalkeeper in any FIFA finals tournament and earned Canada a point as the game ended 2-2.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Pickford, so it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
But
Not
yeah.
the last time I will use that phrase during this episode. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, he's
I think they
known
were
as
good
Q.
cues for a difficult letter. That was good. I was thinking when I couldn't think of one. Oh, who would be quintessentially
Oh,
Canadian?
I think I remember you telling me that.
That's where we'll be getting to when we get to X and Z.
Thanks for minding your P's and Q's in this part.
Hey, well, we'll be back with the letter R next time. Pirates. So, if we missed any cues out, let us know. I was having an interesting discussion this week with somebody about this and just our selections. And yes, some of them are obviously personal to us. Some of them I try to think a little bit out of the box, so we're not just going for players and stuff. But if you think of the letters to come, any good ones that you've got for letters, let us know. But we're going to get back talking Whitecaps and the more joyous Whitecaps chat in the next part as we look at a dominant win over Sporting KC on Friday night that kept the Whitecaps top of MLS. And we'll be back with that after the first of two songs from our Artist of the Month.
Hi, I'm Quinn, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, it's the first of two songs this episode from our Artist of the Month from April. Oldham band, the Inspiral Carpets. That was their single, Generations, released on 7th of September 1992. It was the band's 12th single and the third one to be taken from what was going to be their upcoming Revenge of the Goldfish, their third album. It's the opening track on the album and it reached number 28 in the UK charts. But we're going to get back to the football chat now, back talking Whitecaps and a much more positive Whitecaps chat we're going to have in this part as we delve into the main talking points coming out of that dominant 3-0 victory over Sporting Kansas City on Friday evening at BC Place. As big a rout as a 3-0 game could really be. 25 shots to 3, 1 on target for KC, although FOTMOB had none on target for KC.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was weird because when I was writing stuff after, the Whitecaps communication said 1 shot on target, and MLSsoccer.com said 0.
Oh, they've changed that now. MLS had 1 before.
Yeah, they changed it after. It said 0.
Yeah, right. So it was 0. Oof. I mean, it was 16 shots to 0. Just shots, never mind on target.
Yeah.
16 shots to 0 at half time in the Whitecaps' favour. And those 16 shots led to 3 first half goals, 2 crossbars, a few other good missed opportunities. And like if some more of those had gone in, and I know it's like woulda, coulda, shoulda, it could have got really nasty for KC. But they regrouped in the second half. There was some big blocks, some big saves from John Poole's camp, who I was reading some of the KC fans' comments after the game on Twitter on the goals and stuff, and they were like criticising Poole's camp, but he kept that scoreline down. Without him, they would have been in a mess. Just what's your initial overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it was a crazy dominant performance from the Whitecaps. It was like they really are showing that they're not letting the elimination from the CONCACAF Champions Cup affect them. They're not letting the hiccup against the San Jose Earthquakes affect them. And they came out with like, okay, we got a job to do. We're going to get it done. And that first half, it was quite incredible. And like I think you said there, it could have been more.
They were dominant against NYC, and it was just 2-0. Dominant against KC, and it was just 3-0. And I know I'm saying just, it's still they're excellent results. It's weird to come away from a dominant game, a 3-0 game, you're top of the West, you're top of MLS, and in my head I was like, I'm a bit disappointed that was only 3-0. That's where we are with this team right now.
Well, yeah, especially it's not like they totally took their foot off the gas pedal in the second half, but they maybe weren't as creative, or the chances, I think in general, weren't as prime. But
yeah, there were some good saves and good defensive blocks.
But they definitely should have got more. But it felt like again. I mean, again, for me, it's hard not to see make the comparison of Thomas Müller's current team and his former team, right? Like I've seen this from Bayern over the years a bunch, right? Like they come out, they crush in the first half, and then we're going to take the foot off the brake in the second, or foot off the gas in the second half, and get through this because we got you typically said we got a big Champions game midweek or whatever. Yeah, it was really interesting because they didn't fully do that. They didn't fully just kind of be like, okay, we're just going to pass it around here. Because I do think they do have some of those things in mind, like even Thomas's comments this weekend, I think we'll talk about later, about, hey, we want to fill the stadium. And what they did in the first half is the type of performance that can fill the stadium. The performance in the second half, performance that will hopefully save legs and help you win a title in the long run.
Yeah. There's a slate of MLS matches midweek this week, which Whitecaps don't have one, which is a little odd, but it gave them the chance to, we'll speak about Rayan Elloumi later on as well, but he got some minutes. Nikola Djordjevic got to make his MLS debut, so that was great to get all these guys getting some minutes. If we look at the game, like 2 minutes in, Sabi gets on the end of an Ocampo cross, heads it wide, should have been on target, probably should have been the opening goal. And part of me was thinking, oh, is it going to be one of these nights for Sabi where just things aren't coming off? Far from it, as it turned out. And by the 13th minute, Sabi had opened the scoring. And this was a lovely, lovely goal. Ball comes forward to Brian White, plays him in. He chips the onrush in Poole's camp. It's not on target. It falls to Matty Laborda. And there's a lot to pick over in this. So it falls to Matty Laborda. He gets bundled over as he tries to take the shot. And I've watched it a couple of times. And it's a hip check. And it's like, would that have been a potential penalty if they hadn't scored? Or would that just be classed as a 50-50 tackle? Because he does get cleaned out before he can kick the ball. And the guy did not win the ball.
Yeah, I remember thinking at the time, that's going to be a penalty. But then obviously as the play fully played out, you're like, okay.
Well, yeah, then the ball breaks perfectly to Sabi, and then he blasts it into the net. whilst the KC player's got his hand up trying to to keep it out with his hand. And it's like, do you really want to get sent off 13 minutes into a game for that when there's a long way to go?
Yeah.
Which, again, someone said the law is if it had hit his hand, even if it was a goal, it should still have been a yellow card. And then others were saying, oh, he should have given the penalty and sent the guy off for the tackle on the border because that would have helped the Whitecaps more. I mean, we won 3-0. We don't really need to have these too many discussions about this. For Sabi, though, it was the confidence that he needed. It was great to see him back, looking sharp. Concerning at the end that he went off, so there's no update yet. Maybe by the time this comes out, there might be. I'm hoping it's not a serious hamstring injury. He wasn't limping too badly, but then now there was Andres Cubas, others that then have missed significant time as well. And for Sabi, and I asked Jesper about this in the post-game, it's been tough for him. He hasn't had a great start to the year. Jesper acknowledged that. He missed pre-season for personal reasons. He's back, plays the first game, gets a subsequent red card by Disco, can't play the second game, has been in and out of the starting team, has done so, not great. This was his best game of the season so far, so fingers crossed this isn't going to kind of derail that a bit for him.
Yeah. I do also want to say about the first goal that and maybe I can't remember if you just mentioned it there or not, but like it is, there is this nice non-traditional technique and kind of whatever, like pass from Thomas Müller that kind of gets the ball out wide. It's kind of in some ways vintage Thomas Müller, where it's just like, it doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look like the way it's supposed to, but it gets to where it needs to.
Yeah, it did look awkward. It's like he's almost fallen over,
but he knows where to get the ball. He gets it there. And I know you've talked about some of his performances this year where you're like, the things he's trying to pull off are not coming off. And it's like, in your eyes, I know kind of maybe made his performance not be as high as you would like. But I thought it was, again, he doesn't get an assist on the play or anything like that, but like without that kind of awkward yet right pass, the play doesn't happen.
Yeah. I thought he had an excellent game, and we all come to him obviously very, very soon with the third goal. So, I mean, Sabi had another chance a few minutes later, but then it was 2-0 in the 23rd minute. Bruno Caicedo, his first goal as a Whitecap. He nearly had one in his debut. He got an assist in his second game, and now he's got a goal. He is such an entertaining and fun player to watch. He's one of those guys that literally gets fans up out of their seats when he's on the ball.
Yeah.
And an absolute nightmare to defend.
He's the kind of player like you don't want to just, pass the ball to as the opposition when you're in your own third.
Yeah, it's like, who looks really dangerous just now? Oh, not this guy that we don't know much about. I mean, this has been a week of some horrible defenses and defensive plays across MLS and in the Premier League as well in England. But yeah, I mean, Caicedo must have not believed his luck. The ball just comes to him on the edge of the box, takes a couple of touches to run in, and just minutes before, he tried a curler that went off at a weird angle.
Yeah, he did not hit it right.
This one, when he gets the ball, you can see Thomas is telling him to pass it to somebody, but this time he does get it right, and it curls beautifully in off the post. It's 2-0. Great for him. He's hit the ground running. He's still not even really up to full match fitness, but what a player this could be for the Whitecaps this year. Yeah,
we've talked about, I mean, we haven't maybe talked that much recently about AZ or AZ or whatever, and how
he didn't feature again.
Yeah, but how when he came in, it was like, oh, is he the answer to the conundrum over what do you do with the vacancies of Ahmed and Nelson on the left? And it looked like he might take that role, but yeah, he's, I guess, maybe, I don't know if he's carrying something, maybe he's just failed to impress in training or in his recent performances or whatever. We've had Sabali put in some time out there as well with not really, definitive performances. And now you have Caicedo step onto the scene with a really great assist. I think it was in his first game. He only got these 2 appearances off the bench, and then this is his full debut, and he kind of just takes the opportunity so well. Couple things about it. One, there's one I think in the I can't remember if it was the broadcast or in the highlights or whatever, but there's one really great angle of replay that they show where it's poor Rafael Vicky on the on the bench, and he's like bent over. He's got his hands like on his knees, like watching the play develop, and then the goal goes in. And he's just like he like because you could see the goal kind of in the background
Oh,
in from the side there, and he just kind of like just total
I mean,
despair.
what can you do as a coach?
Yeah,
You set them up for the week. You do your game tape, and then you literally pass the ball to the guy that's their most exciting player right now in the opposition.
well, Michael, they were coming off of a 3-0 loss in the U.S. Open Cup
Yeah, I watched that.
to the Colorado
They were
Switchbacks.
destroyed by the Switchbacks.
Yeah, it was not a good. I watched the highlights of the game. It was not a good game. We'll talk about what Vicky maybe said after the game later, but yeah, that was really really interesting. And another thing, which I know Har brought up post game, was the celebration.
Yeah, like
There
I,
was two parts to it.
I don't know that it's been banned elsewhere, like Har said, but
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know anything about it. It's sort of this partially covering the face with one hand and then making like a gun motion with the other
yeah,
hand. I literally saw this weekend someone do that the exact same celebration. I can't remember which league it
I've
was.
seen it before.
I don't know if it was in Germany or Syria or I don't think it was Spain or Belgium, but yeah, I saw it this weekend and I said, Kirk, I said that's a celebration.
Yeah, like I've seen it. I don't know anything about any
Yeah.
controversy about it, but
But then he also did dancing.
yeah, he did the little spin around and twirling.
Yeah. Anyways, you're right. Exciting player.
Yeah, it's he genuinely. Whenever he's on the ball, there's a buzz in the stadium. You heard it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, here he goes again. And defenders are slipping all over the place. Now, he's definitely not the finished article. His positioning needs to be a lot better. And you saw, particularly in the first half, when he was on the side that Jesper was on,
Yeah.
Jesper was constantly
Yeah.
calling him over or telling him stuff. It's like, you need to do this, you need to be here, you need to do that. So he does need to work on his positioning, tracking back to put in a defensive shift, which, to be fair, he might not have been asked to do a lot of in
Yeah.
the past.
Yeah.
But
And
that role with this Whitecaps team needs
is
that
very
because you've got
important. Yeah.
Tate or Laborda behind you that also like to get forward.
Yeah. It,
And
it,
like
it,
actually talking about that, going back to the first goal, we were saying you're in a breakaway, white chips the
oh yeah.
keeper,
Oh yeah.
and who's right in the middle of the 6 yard box? Matty Laborda, your centre back. How did he get up there so
Yeah,
fast?
I still don't know what triggered him to make that run in that way, but that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. But the other thing with Bruno as well, I felt there was a couple of times as well, he's not used to the pitch, the turf yet.
Yeah, that's
There
very
was
fair.
a couple of slips, misplayed passes, things just didn't go right. And that will come as well. And
He
seeing him now in grass in this big spell of games that's coming up is going to be very exciting.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. He seems like again, it's early days, and you hope that he kind of kicks on from where he's at already. But it feels like a really good. What is it called? U20 is
Yeah,
U21
he's a
initiative.
U22 initiative.
U22 initiative player for the Whitecaps. It feels like they could have kind of unearthed another gem. Like
Yeah.
obviously he's different position, but it feels like he could be like a Pedro Vite who
hmm
comes in and there's some really great things, and then he continues to grow as a player and blossom and makes massive contributions, and at the same time is also someone you can maybe sell on and then make money from that to then reinvest in the kind of future players or whatever else is going on with the life of the club at the time.
Well, I mean, both Ecuadorian
Yep.
as well. And when he was announced that he was coming here, Ecuadorian fans, Ecuadorian media were raving about him, saying the Whitecaps were getting a great player. And that's always a good sign. But you take
Very
it with a
good.
pinch of salt, especially when it's South Americans.
Yeah.
But this league is made for South American talent to shine. And in his post game, he was saying about how welcomed he's been at the club by everyone. But having the Latinos there has really helped. And you can see that because one of the things that I've always loved, and it also kind of breaks my heart a little bit, is when the Whitecaps do those fun videos on their socials. And Eddie Aracampo's always like, oh, who would be your dream player to do this with or that with? And he's always Pedro, because him and Pedro were so close. Now he's got a new little Ecuadorian friend. And the two of them, see, they're like thick as thieves at training. They're always together. And that's great for both of them that they've got each other.
Totally.
And yeah, we talk a little bit about Ocampo in this part as well. But that was 2-0. And then 5 minutes later, it's 3-0. And you're like, oh boy, this is going to rack the scores up. Immediately I'm thinking, oh, is this going to be the game that we're going to break the all-time record of a 7-goal win? Because it was certainly shaping up that way. But another brilliant goal. And this is the kind of goal that I put up there when it comes to goal of the season time. Solely because of the work that Sabi put in to keep this move alive. Tristan Blackman, and this is clearly something they've been practicing or worked upon, he gets the ball and he just punts it long into space. Because it's like, Sabi's got the pace, he's going to get to that. And it looks like it's going out. He doesn't give up on it. He slides to keep it in, perfectly timed, but then can quickly pick himself up to deliver the pinpoint cross right onto the head of Thomas Müller, who heads it home superbly, a great header.
Yeah, well, he kind of floated it across so that Muller into that space there where Muller could attack it because he was, let's be honest, was poorly marked. But
Yes.
you can't leave, a player of Muller's quality in,
Yeah.
that open.
When a defender, I can't remember who it was, but he jumped to get to the ball and completely missed it.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that.
No.
And it's easy for me to say as not a defender, but
Is this his fourth goal of the year? Is that his first non-penalty?
no, second.
Second, okay.
Yeah. But I thought, like back-to-back good games from Müller. He kind of spoke, we'll hear a little bit of audio from Thomas at the end of this part, but he spoke this week about, maybe he's not been playing at his best, but it's about the team. But he's starting to get that confidence, he's starting to get that swagger again, but he's also starting to find that space, either because he's not been marked well. Like New York just gave up space to the Whitecaps all over. KC did as well, but I don't think that was as intentional as New York had done the week before. And this is the kind of league, these are the kind of games and teams that Thomas Müller doesn't need much to work with. That's why he's known as the space interpreter. He finds space from nothing. If you leave him unmarked, he's going to punish you like that.
Yeah, and he did.
Then to round off the half, Sabi crashed one off the bar in the 39th minute. Then Berhalter hit one off the bar 3 minutes into stoppage time. And it was like, wow. The one for Sabi made their number 20 slip and fall on his ass and then gets the shot off. Oh, that would have been such a good goal. But it was 3-0 at half-time. I genuinely thought, we're getting to 6 or 7 here.
Oh, yeah, I definitely thought there's no chance that we don't. You're not tweeting out what time is it.
Yeah. Pulskamp, though, was good in the second half. Maybe his biggest save coming 4 minutes after the restart from his own player. When Berhalter floats in a free kick and Joveljic is just desperate to try and get a goal any net at the moment.
Yeah.
It was a good header, but a brilliant save from Pulskamp. Lots of blocks after that, lots of Whitecaps pressure, nothing coming off for them. Campo drilled one wide of the far post with 15 minutes to go. Elloumi was denied by another big Pulskamp save a minute into stoppage time. So, I mean, all in all, decisive win. Absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
From start to finish.
And again, they're doing it. I mean, I think you look at everyone on the pitch and say, like, they're first choice in one way. But again, this is a side that's doing this with so many key injuries, so many key players missing that if you had every player on the entire roster fully fit and ready to go, I don't think that's your starting 11, number one.
Yeah.
And number two,
I was thinking about this driving home.
Yeah, number two, you're like, okay, how how good would they be if they had what I thought, or what you thought, or what Jesper thought was the best starting 11 kind of on the pitch?
Genuinely, you look at Veselinovic is out. He was a Defender of the Year contender last year before his injury. Sam Arakugbe, who a starter for the Canadian national team.
Yep.
And Ryan Gauld, international, fleeting with Scotland, but such a key player in the last couple of seasons for the Whitecaps. 3 big injuries. You've lost an Ali Ahmed as well, and you're putting up these results.
You didn't mention defender/midfielder Ralph Priso.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Which it's going to be interesting to see how and if he gets into the team, if he's ready before Ranko, which I don't think he's going to be. I think Ranko is going to be good to go. He might even be good to go for the Colorado game, but I don't know that you throw him in at that.
It feels, I mean, a few things. One is this last home game where I think
you want to get those points.
A lot's going to go into it, and then
there's a week where I think they play Dallas and Houston in the space of 4 days. So that's, I think, when you'll see centre back rotation and Ranko getting minutes.
Yeah, but if you're like, okay, he's fit and we do need to start integrating him, then it's like, okay, bring him on for like the final 10, 15 minutes as the first kind of step.
True.
In his reintegration.
If a game's out of hand or whatever in particular.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about some individual players in a sec. First of all, though, I'll bring you some post-game audio from KC head coach Rafael Vicky. Tough job ahead for the man. He's just been in charge of the team since January. Here's some thoughts from him after that one.
First half obviously didn't go as you probably would have hoped. Second half, you guys seem to be able to kind of string some more possession together, especially kind of after those subs made around the 50-minute mark. Just what were you seeing in the first half there, and what did you think about how your team played in that second period?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the first half didn't go the way I wanted. But overall, I have to say, I can take positives from this performance. I told this to the players. They don't see this right now, but as a coach, I can do something with this performance. On Tuesday, I couldn't do anything with that performance, and in certain other games, we had performances who were way worse than tonight. We knew this is a tough place to play. We knew they're a top team of the league. They are one of the best teams I've played so far. We knew it's going to be tough. And I think even in the first half, there were spells where we were there, but then in those important moments, we obviously give these goals away, and we hurt ourselves. But I saw a team who wanted. I saw a team a very young team. Some guys with the first time I started in the MLS, first minutes in the MLS. I saw the team who wanted to apply what we wanted to do. And then, obviously, it's tough for them that in 30 minutes, I think, you concede 3 goals. So that's always a very tough mentally then. But I didn't see a team giving up. I saw a team who kept working, who wanted, and the message at halftime was, let's try to win this second half. And I think the team went out there and fought against, again, a very, very good team. And I thought we looked good. We had good possession. We had an idea. We had some chances. So that's how I see this game. Obviously, no one likes to lose. I'm the first one, and the players as well. But again, I try to look at it a little bit different. And with this performance, I told the team I can build.
Rafael, commiserations on the defeat. A couple questions for you. You've kind of been brought in to kind of shape this next kind of chapter of Sporting Kansas City. You talked about some of the positives that you can take away from this game. I wonder if you could maybe step away and just talk about the progression that you've seen so far in the season. Obviously, the season as a whole hasn't been easy. It's had a few highs and some lows and stuff. But yeah, how you see things going so far?
I mean, obviously, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with the season is going. Of course not. But it's a new team. It's a very young team. It's a team who will take a while to come together. We've had, that's no excuses, that's just facts. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had players out, and they have to come back. You have to reintegrate them. We've had new players to reintegrate. We're a team who has to find themselves and grow together. And I believe 100% that we will get there where we want, and we will go into the right direction. Today, like I said, there were moments of this game where I saw a team who tries to play, who has character, who has personality, and not just kicking the ball long and hope for the best. Now there is still obviously a lot of things which we have to do better, because we do mistakes in the wrong moments, and then we hurt us. But I'd rather have a team showing up and playing with character and personality than being scared, and that's where we have to work on.
MLS as a league seems to continue, as it continues to grow and develop, maybe more so than ever, is valuing young players, bringing through your own young players, getting the right players from the right places at the right time. You spoke about some of your young players today, and Kwaku and others, but I wonder if you could talk about how significant the roles of them. Kwaku, I think James came on there at the end or whatever. How significant the young players are for you, and where things are now, and like you said, where you're going.
Yeah, look, when I was hired, this was part of the hire as well. It's a club who wants to build young players, academy players, and help them develop and help them grow into the first team. That's a part I like, but I don't think right now we're in the best place, because I always believe that when you put in one or two young players, they should be surrounded by something which works. And right now it is not the case because of various reasons. So it's not easy for them to be on the field, because obviously the team is not complete yet. Then we had all these injuries. We always have to change, and then you have to put young players in, and that is not always easy. But on the other hand, since preseason, this is an opportunity for all these young kids to grow. We had a lot of young players in preseason. We have a lot of young players in this team right now. A lot of them are getting minutes. They have to take this opportunity and grow, and they make experience. But normally you would like not having 5 or 6 together on the field, because it's difficult. You would have maybe 2 together and surrounded by something, and that would be the ideal. Right now it's not, so it's an opportunity for them to grow, and some show up really well.
Feel it, Doug.
Sporting KC head coach Rafael Wicki there, and you were doing the post game in the KC locker room. They were finished pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it started really quickly, which was nice.
Yeah, you got to then get to the Caps one as well.
Yeah, I got to everyone but Jesper. I think that Rafael Wicki, he's coming in, and yeah, it's not an easy. I don't like the term rebuild, but it's not an easy task. I know everyone likes to call it a project. The project is interesting and unique,
yes,
whatever. But I mean, it's a club.
It's a tough job he's got.
Yeah, it's a club though. I mean, even the Wiz had some success, but like when they rebranded to Sporting Kansas City and built their own stadium and all this stuff, they had so much. It wasn't even just the success; it was the quality with which they did everything. I mean, they influenced a number of other clubs in MLS. And some of the off-field and operational stuff, but they made it a place to they just made it and obviously winning helps all this, of course, but they made that stadium a place you needed to be on match days. You didn't want to miss out. It was really exciting, and obviously it's taken a few years of really poor performances to kind of get to where they're at now. But yeah, he's come in with this opportunity to kind of rebuild things. So ask them a little bit about that there, and ask them a little bit about, the young players, because now they're not maybe a Dead Bull or, Ralph Salt Lake or whatever, but they have a number of young players who were, put in some respectable performances even in a game where they were, dominated by the Whitecaps, and there's some real potential there. And he talked about how it's unfortunate that he's being forced to play so many of them all together at once, because that's not the ideal way necessarily.
Yeah. And they're on the end of some bad results.
Yes.
He did say it was a better performance in the Switchbacks game,
Yes. I like that.
which it had to be.
Yeah. I like that. He came out and said, like, I can work with that.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like,
that second half gives them something to work with
yeah.
because defensively they look decent. And the week before, they were the better team. They scored, they gave up a stupid equaliser, and then the wheels came off. This time around, they regrouped and they came out with a plan in the second half. So I wish them well because it's a stadium I always want to get to. It looks a great stadium. I've always loved their jerseys. Obviously, Johnny Russell. But in general, it's just every year just seems tougher and tougher for them. And for the fans, it's a hard sell to pay money to go out and watch that team right now. Back to the Whitecaps. Some individual players we'll talk about. I thought Ocampo was excellent again. He's getting forward. His link-up play was good. I've liked what I've seen from him this season. He is probably due a rest at some point, and with Ranko maybe coming back, that maybe will allow Matty Laborda to get some starts out there as well. Andres Cubas, another game where the Whitecaps don't give a goal up with Andres Cubas on the pitch.
Yeah, and we even said as we were watching the game together, there was the one moment where I think it was from a corner or whatever, and the ball, second phase of the corner, ball comes out to the top, and it actually wasn't even just him. It was him and I can't remember which one of his teammates, like just charging it down to block it, right? Like just make sure, it's not happening on my watch.
Yeah.
Just really, really impressive, and it was interesting to hear him talk about that, about how, like, oh yeah, like that stat, which is an impressive stat.
I mean, this far into the season, it's incredible. So, I mean, I've been banging on about it for the last couple of shows. So, obviously, when Andres did the post-game, I had to ask him about that. So, here's what he had to say. Another good performance tonight, another clean sheet for the team. I'm sure you're aware the team hasn't conceded a goal all season while you've been on the pitch. It's a nice start to have, especially this far into the season. How does that make you feel, and what do you bring to this team defensively when you are on the pitch?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Make me happy. But of course, it's not only for me, it's for the team. I think everyone... we are doing well defensively, so that is important. So yeah, I think el mérito es para el equipo, para defensivo.
The merit of the team.
Yeah, the merit is for the team, and yeah, keep working. And I think I give the team my defensive, mi esfuerzo para manejar defensivamente
My best effort.
y tratar de hacer lo mejor para el equipo en la parte defensiva y que no y cubrir los espacios que por ahí quedan libres, pero creo que todo es por el equipo.
Yeah, I try to cover as much ground as possible for the group and defensively do my role. Everything that I do is for the team, for the betterment of the team.
It's great that Andres is doing some of these in English now as well, although he did switch to Spanish the longer it went on. Sitting down with him this coming week to talk about Paraguay and World Cup stuff. We're hoping we're going to be able to do most of it in English as well. And yeah, I'll bring you that in our World Cup stuff that we're going to be doing in May. Rayan Elloumi, he got a run out and spoke on the show last week. He was playing for WFC2. And it's the case just now for his development. He needs to be getting some more runs, some time, whether it's with the twos or whatever. I asked Jesper about that in his post-game, and here's what he had to say. It was one of these games which allowed you to get some minutes for some players. Djordjevic made his debut.
Yeah.
Rayan Elloumi, doesn't look quite at the levels that he was when he was brought in last year. Is there a plan for him to get more minutes, maybe with the twos, just to get a little bit of a run and get some competitive minutes under his belt a bit?
Yeah, it's he's a young player, of course, and last year everybody was just surprised that he could make it to the team. Now there's high expectations to him. He also just been away with the Tunisian national team, so of course it's different expectations now for him, also probably for himself. He is not in the rhythm right now where he got a lot of minutes consistently, and of course for a young player that's very natural that he needs that. But he's a big talent, and he will be a guy that we have to work on and work to see how we can help him get the best out of his talent, and also he needs minutes. This is an important stage of his development, and he also needs minutes. But he's also, today he had a couple of mistakes, and of course Brian is a natural starter for us, so we also have to figure out how we get the best out of and develop the best on Rayan, of course.
So, I mean, Jesper is agreeing that Ryan's maybe not as sharp, not in the rhythm that we saw last year when he came into the squad. And the only way you get into the rhythm is by playing minutes. But with Brian playing the way he's playing, it's hard to get him minutes.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It is a quandary. And I mean, I don't know what the right answer is, but they're so thin, really, in strikers that, I mean, we speculated, could you loan him out maybe for a brief spell to post-World Cup? But they're just so short there that if Brian has a hamstring go again or an injury or something, you still need him there. But that's not necessarily the best for him because he's not getting the minutes he needs.
I was going to say, would the immediate solution be Sabali through the middle?
Yeah, but he hasn't overly impressed me so far.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously he is then... like Sabali and Sabi can both play through the middle.
Yeah, I agree with you that he would benefit from like a consistent run of games, but it's not going to happen in MLS. And I think probably half to 2/3 of the CPL clubs would bite your hand off to have him on alone.
Yeah, and it's like the twos played today that went down to a 3-2 defeat to Sporting KC2. And he wasn't part of that, obviously, because he got those minutes on Friday. So I think you will see him a lot more, get a little bit of run-outs with the twos. But yeah, I'd love nothing more than to have him flying again. So that in a game like this where like Brian White wasn't fantastic in this game.
No.
And it was a chance maybe for Ryan to come in and get something.
We're talking about the second half and getting more goals. That's one thing, again, I said to you as we were sitting there, was like, you hope Brian White gets one here in the second half just to kind of keep
him ticking along. I mean, we touched on it at the start. It was a crowd of over 21,000. I think that's good for a Friday night. I've seen some folk criticise it's like, that was all. There was a lot of empty seats. I think it didn't help that a lot of the empty seats were together behind one of the goals, so it just makes it look a lot worse. But it's a Friday night. It's tough if folks had school or whatever, getting downtown after work as well. But I still think that's a very respectable and healthy crowd. Anything over 20,000 is a good crowd. And I know everyone's saying, we need to pack the stadium and show that they want to keep the team here. When you just look at what the crowds were just a couple of years ago, this is a good crowd for a Friday night game against not fashionable opposition either, you've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways to look at it. Yeah, it is on the whole, it's a progression. It is, I believe it was the lowest attendance of the season. But the other thing is, you've had, this is what, the 6th or 7th home league game plus a couple cup games. It's been a ton.
It's a lot of money for folk.
There's going to be, if you're not a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
But like, it's going to be a crazy, what we were talking about as we were leaving? All of May, all of June, all of July.
Yeah, they're not back to August 1st.
It's like a 3.5 month break. It'll be interesting to see how that, if people have missed it so much that then that'll, there'll be a huge, like a surge.
Hopefully. Thomas Müller spoke this week as well, and he was talking about he wants to see the more fans come in and support the team, and he'd love to see the whole lower bowl full for every single game. And it's a realistic option for them to do that the way that they're playing. You do hope that this break doesn't kill that momentum, because you don't know where they're going to be in the league table by the time they come back on August 1st. But that game on August 1st is against LAFC, so it's a tasty game to be back with. Talking of Thomas Müller, I'll bring you some audio now from him speaking midweek, just about attendances and a few other things as well. Thomas, it's been a good start to the season for the team. What have you made of this first stretch of matches? Sitting top of the league, a lot of work still to do, but you must be happy with the development of the team?
Yes, the last couple of games were better. I think we needed a little bit of time to get our rhythm. We had also results in the beginning in the league, but our playing style and our game was not there in every moment where we wanted to be. But I think the last couple of weeks we're doing better and better, and from a playing style perspective. So I'm happy. We are progressing. We are building up, and yeah, it helps. Success helps to keep the confidence and to get everyone going. The squad is deep, so yeah, we are well prepared for the next period. But we have to know maybe it is also a special situation for us because we had almost only home games so far. So yeah, I think you can judge us a little bit better after the period in May when we have I think 5 in a row away from home. So, but I'm still confident.
Thomas, Whitecaps fans, they're concerned that the team might move. There's still a search for a new owner and a viable soccer stadium. I'm wondering, as a player who's played for a lot of years, who's racked up a lot of Euros, have you been approached to maybe buy in or be part of an owner of the Whitecaps?
Even if there would be something going on, I wouldn't tell you here now. Why? You've never been in negotiations? No? And even if I wouldn't tell you, but I think it's more important from a player's perspective that we try to give the city and also the fans the feeling that we give everything to be successful, and we want them to feel great when they come to BC Place and enjoy our games. We are doing well so far, and I hope that helps for the whole environment to see that the Whitecaps are very important for this city. So that's my feeling about these situations. It's not in our control, but I feel that we can provide something to get kind of a feeling going, and I hope that the fans maybe they should also stand up a little bit more to avoid it. I don't know what's going on in the background, and maybe they are trying to figure out, and they want to show that they want us in the city. But I think it will be nice if we could see it and can feel it even a little bit more. So we do our part, and the rest is future, and I don't know what's going on in the background.
How do you feel you've played this year? You have 3 goals, 2 penalty goals, 5 shots on target. You've been in the lineup, on the bench, starting. You were in Germany, then you came back. How are you playing? How do you feel about your game?
I think as everyone, you have always moments you think you can do better, but most of the games I had the feeling I participated quite well. I provided the game what I can do for sure. I want to get a little bit more often into finishing spots. That's for sure, because one of my biggest strengths is finishing in the box. At the moment, I'm more part of the higher build-up, I would say, but it's also important to create a lot of chances. We are the best offense, I think, in the league. So in general, there is nothing really to change or to force to change, even if my numbers could be maybe a little bit more shiny or more glamorous. But I don't really care about my numbers. I love to score goals. I love to make assists for my teammates directly. I love it when my name is on scoring list, but what is more important for me, and you could hear that already in my famous interview 2014 after the World Cup. The most important thing is that we play good as a team and that we win. And I think I can help the boys out there. And so far, it's a good start into the season. My body feels good, and we built on that. But you're right. I want to be more in finishing spots, but that's more a theoretical thought rather than something what I'm forcing. If it's not the right call, if another guy just plays the last pass or finishes our goals and our attacks, that's also fine.
I wanted to ask you about a couple of your teammates. What have you seen of Sebastian Berhalter since you joined this team?
Yeah, I think he was always a powerful force for us. He is from 1 to 90. Every minute he is on the pitch, he gives everything, and he can provide a lot. Not only his endurance, his power, also his playmaking, and he scores goals. He is giving us some very dangerous set pieces. So he's in general and overall a very, very important player for us, not only on the field, also in the locker room. And, he's doing well, but we have many guys who are doing well. So it's always tough to pick some players and put them above others. For sure, we are also in internal concurrence situations, so we have to show up, and we want to show up also against each other. Because this business is daily based, and that's a nice thing about it. But he's doing well. I think everyone can see it, that he is enjoying to play the game, to fight for his teammates, to fight for the club. And when we go for 10 days ago, amazing tackling in the own half and scores the winner in the last second. So I think that describes his whole skill set.
The other guy I want to ask you about is a former teammate, Alphonso Davies. It's almost 10 years since he made his professional debut with this club. What do you remember about the first time you saw him?
Yeah, as everyone, I think. I remember, this guy is fast. That was just incredible to see him and how he can accelerate from nothing. He's a nice guy, always energetic. He can play the game. He was very young and very raw when he came to Munich, but I think you could follow his development not only at Bayern, also maybe in the Canadian national team. He was grown as a man, not only as a player. And I hope he stays fit for the rest of the season, because he's very important for both teams he plays in.
You've been part of some amazing moments here with the Vancouver Whitecaps in such a short amount of time. Have you seen the passion, the interest grow, especially in front of these massive crowds at BC Place over the last few months?
Yes, a little bit, and I can still feel it. I think the fans enjoying it. That I don't know how it was before, but that the team is also interacting maybe a little bit more with the fans. I don't know how it was before, so I don't want to say too much about it. But I have the feeling there is a connection, especially with the Southsiders and also the other people coming into the stadium. If I have a wish, I don't know how we can get it done, but it would be nice if the lower bowl is in every home game full. Not only almost full, but I want to have the feeling that it's packed, that everyone, and to be honest, it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable not only because I love this game, but also because we're delivering week in, week out. Not every game is a highlight like the game against Portland, to be honest, but we had several highlight games, and it's always nice to watch us. Even in the games we are maybe not at our best, we are still grinding in and try to fight until the last second. I think you can see that in every game, and it's worth it. But it's not about asking the people to go there. It's more if I can wish for something. But we try our best to get the people in the BC Place for a reason.
People talk about the impact you have on other players on the team. Have you seen players develop or get a lot better over the last few months here?
Oh, that's not a question I should answer. It's more a question maybe people from the outside should talk about that. What's your perspective? What's their perspective? I try to help all my teammates as good as I can with my own actions and also with some talks and perspectives and also some teaching on the training ground. But it's not about me to name improvements or developments I was part in.
So Thomas Müller there just chatting about a few things. Whitecaps, that is it for the Whitecaps chat for the show, but we've got a lot more to come, including more MLS chat. And we'll be back with that after the second of our songs from our featured Artist of the Month for April, the Inspiral Carpets.
Hi, I'm Emmanuel Sabi, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part is the second of our two songs this episode from our Artist of the Month for April, English band The Inspiral Carpets. That was a single they released on November 2nd, 1992, Bitches Brew. It was the band's 13th single overall and their fourth and final one to be taken from Revenge of the Goldfish, the band's third album that was released on October 5th, 1992, and that single reached number 36 in the UK charts. So let's get back to the football chat now, and we're going to continue talking Major League Soccer as we look around the rest of the MLS West. And it's been a good weekend for the Whitecaps. They finish the weekend first in the West, first in the Supporters' Shield. They're tied still on points with second-placed San Jose Earthquakes, and they now find themselves with a 5-point cushion over LAFC, which is good to have at this stage of the season.
Yeah.
Because you imagine they're going to get stronger and make some additions in the summer, and maybe when they're not playing Champions Cup stuff as well, which got to give a big well done to them. Getting into the semi-finals, they did what they needed to do down in Mexico against Cruz Azul.
Mm-hmm.
But was it a hangover? as I went into the biggest game, really, of the week for me. LAFC, third in the West, hosting second-placed San Jose Earthquakes. And 0-0 at half-time at BMO Stadium in LA. I'd watched the first half.
Don't say it.
I said to you,
don't say
got
it.
the second half to watch, trying to avoid the score. After you saying, I don't want any spoilers for the games that I'm watching. And your very next reply shares something that has Timo Werner scores and San Jose win in LA.
It was something Har sent me, and I didn't even read about it. It was just Timo Werner giving the interview. That's all I saw. And I just clicked and sent it to you. And then you're like, yeah, thanks for spoiling the score. And then I clicked on the thing and I was like, oh no.
It was fine because it saved me watching the whole game. I just watched the highlights then for the second half. But when I saw that, I was like, I'll see what the score was, thinking,
yeah,
Wake sneaked a 1-0 win. I did not see a 4-1 win. I mean, the first half...
they created lots of chances.
Yeah.
They created tons of chances.
But the first, San Jose had a great chance 2 minutes in. They should have taken the lead. But then, I mean, it was an end-to-end game, but LAFC were the far better team in the first half, and they had a slew of opportunities. And Sun still hasn't got that first MLS goal. And their finishing was just poor in the first half. I still fancied them to probably do the job in the second half, especially at home. The two best defences in MLS going into this one. I would never have seen a 5-goal game from that.
No.
Considering last week with the first goals LAFC had given up.
Yeah. LAFC
4 given up tonight.
LAFC have dropped below the Caps now.
Yes. We're now the second best in the league defensively. So it's 4-1 in the end for San Jose. I mean, the start of the second half as well, LAFC had a couple of really good chances that they just couldn't put away. Sun had one, Porteous had one, and then, in about a 5-minute burst, the Quakes scored 3 times. Buda put them ahead in the 53rd minute. Great work from Timo Werner, puts it to the back post, Buda finishes. 3 minutes later, it's 2-0. And the goal of the game as well is Werner just runs through LA for a beautiful individual goal.
He made it look easy, yeah. Kind of just, what was the old Craig McEwen, like butter through
a hot knife through butter. It basically was that. You're like, someone's going to put a tackle in at some point. Oh, no. Oh, it's 2-0. No. 3 minutes after that, or 2 minutes after that, actually, it was 3-0. Ryan Porteous turns it into his own net. I don't know what he was doing with the clearance. That was never an attempted clearance, but he turns that in. They'd hit the crossbar in the build-up to that move. It was an incredible 5-minute burst. Turned the game on its head. LAFC got an own goal in their favour in the 74th minute, but then the 3-goal lead was restored 6 minutes later. Buda got a second. 4-1 final. Quakes looking really good, and it makes that Whitecaps performance against them all the better. I know they lost. Still think they should have taken something from it. But the Quakes look the real deal right now.
There's a happy Bruce Arena in Southern California.
Will it last? They did start strong last year and then faded off. One thing I was getting annoyed by, and I don't think this is the only thing we'll mention a situation like this today. The commentary was getting on my nerves a little bit. Taylor Twellman was just doing my head in the first half that I'd watched all of.
I usually don't mind Taylor, actually.
He just kept going on about, it's all Americans. It's doing well it's a team of Americans for San Jose, and Bruce Arena doing what he did like in New England with all these Americans and draft picks and so many players on the pitch today, and the San Jose team draft picks or went through the college system in the US, and it's like, okay, give it a break.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he's not wrong, and San Jose are looking good. The game that's coming up down there as well in a couple of weeks' time, May 9th, Whitecaps go down there. Massive game.
Huge, yeah.
I'm free now that Saturday. I was meant to be commentating, and I'm not, so I am looking at maybe going down.
It's only like a 20-hour drive.
I'm commentating the night before. I can't. But I have looked at flying into San Francisco, not San Jose, it's extortionate, and then just getting the train So it's doable for a decent price. But I want to be back for the 10th for the Can Champ game in Langley.
You know what they say about trains in World Cup City?
Yeah, this is a cheap one. It's okay. They haven't hiked the prices yet to £150 or dollars, whatever it was. The English are not happy about that.
Well, I can imagine.
They didn't complain too much when it was Scotland in Boston, but now it's affecting them. They're like, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Looking around the rest of the action in the West, RSL 4-2 win over San Diego. We're not doing this in any particular order as opposed to teams that are doing well in the standings. So RSL 4-2 over San Diego. RSL looked very impressive again. Very entertaining to watch. A big win over, has to be said, a heavily defensively depleted San Diego side. They were missing some defenders. They had a midfielder at left back, I think, or right back, definitely one of the full backs. And yeah, they were all over the place in this game. Injuries, suspensions. And like when you're down like that, it doesn't help 4 minutes in. When you're pissing about at the back and Diego Luna puts pressure on the goalkeeper who panics, tries to clear it, and Luna just sticks his leg out and scores from about a yard out.
Yeah, it was like, Dollaruma, hold my beverage.
Well, that was the thing, because so many folk were like, oh, this is the quality of MLS. It's like, I think you need to have a little look at the Premier League if you're pissing all over MLS here. It happens to goalkeepers the world over.
Yeah. But no, you're right. Like they're kind of running rampant right now, especially going forward.
Yeah. I felt for Feria a little bit there. And you could just see he was like devastated. And it kind of went all downhill from that. 90 seconds later, RSL's leads doubled. Sergi Solons, who was excellent throughout this game, headed home a Luna cross. Marcus Ingvartsen pulled one back for San Diego in the 14th minute before Solans grabbed his second, heading home a Gozo cross in the 38th minute. What a young star. Morgan Gulavogai fired home in first half stoppage time. San Diego did look better in the second half. Dreyer pulled one back midway through from the spot. If they'd got a third, I think it would have put some nerves on RSL and set up a little bit of a barnstorming finale, but they didn't. And it's 4 straight home wins in a row now for RSL. They're looking very, very good, very entertaining, as we've talked about. They're sitting 5th in the standings, level on points with Seattle, but the goal difference is one less. Seattle came away with a 4-1 win over St. Louis, 2 in each half for the Sounders. Kristen Roldan left unmarked at the back post twice. In quick succession from corners, one a header, one a volley. And it's like, did he have a shield or a cloak of invisibility? It's like, okay, you messed it up the first time. I'll at least mark him the second time.
Yeah, you would expect Berkey to maybe sort that out.
That was, like, STL looked bad.
Yeah.
Lowen scored for them in deep in second half stoppage time. That was their only goal.
And he's returning from injury, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're not looking good. But that's the top 5. Whitecaps top, San Jose second, LAFC third, Seattle 4th, Salt Lake 5th. LAFC, Seattle and Salt Lake all on 16 points right now. Minnesota are then 6th. They had a 2-0 win over Portland. And after the good win last week, the pressure's immediately back on Phil Neville because it was a poor performance in a 2-0 defeat.
At home?
And
Was it at home?
No, this was the first of their
it was at Minnesota.
games on the road.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it could have been more for Minnesota. Thomas Shankly opened the scoring for Minnesota 16 minutes in from the edge of the box. Kelvin Yeboah made it 2 from about 6 yards out on the hour mark. Portland did have 12 shots, but only 2 of them on target. Minnesota had 17, and they were pretty dominant in this one. Dallas are 7th. They drew 2-2 with the Galaxy. Peter Musa scored a second brace of the season for Dallas to put them 2 up by the 38th minute. The first one coming from a horrible misplay giveaway from Yoshida. Sanabria and Paintsall scored 2 for LA late in the half to make it 2-2 at the break. There was no goals in the second half, and the points were shared there. Colorado are 8th, and we'll come to them in a sec, and San Diego are 9th to round off the playoff spots. The teams below the playoff line, we'll look at Austin. They're currently sitting third bottom just now in 13th place. Entertaining.
They got a big point.
3-3 draw at Toronto. Nelson got the start for Austin, looked lively. 5 second half goals in this one. I mean, it ebbed and flowed. Larea got a nice goal. Little move to make space for his shot, got that off. So, I mean, he's coming into some good form just now.
And it was a goal he could celebrate, because I think last time he scored, he had to get the ball back to center to get them but it put him up 2-1, and it was good to see that emotion from Richie.
Yeah. Austin, they kind of came back, took the lead, and then Kobe Franklin salvaged the point. So it was a late goal this time for Toronto, 2 minutes from time. At least saved them giving up a late goal. Very sparse BMO Field, though. I know there's been a lot of football in Toronto of late, but just the stadium looked very empty.
It was pretty cold too, right?
Yeah.
Like you saw this. Well,
I saw the snow today in the CPL game.
Yeah.
So talking of Canadian teams, we alluded to it earlier, Montreal have found a winning formula, 4-1 win over Red Bulls. They looked good in this. You wonder where that team's been.
Laturi with again also when he scored his goal, just the passion, maybe it's part relief, but yeah.
Well, I also think players feel bad when the manager's sacked on the whole, unless they want rid of the manager to begin with. But it's like they feel, well, that's because of us that he's lost his job. And in many ways it is.
We'll talk about a team later that I don't think felt that way this season.
But we'll do our Canadian number one battle bit here because it involves the final 2 teams of the West. Colorado and Miami played out a barn-burning game. 3-2 win for Miami. Miami's first game without Javier Mascherano. What a weird week. When it was announced he was gone, I first saw Tom Bogart's tweet saying Mascherano out at Miami, and I thought he'd been fired. And then you see Miami's tweet and statement going, oh, he resigned. And you're like, well, did he resign? Was he pushed? Did he go into his office on Monday morning and message like, oh, I've written a letter for you? I mean, there's been lots of murmurs how this played out, but one thing that seems to be out there is there was an argument after the game in the locker room last weekend, and that seemed to be the final straw for him. But his whole management team's gone as well. And usually when it's that, your initial thought is, oh, he's got a better job somewhere and he's going for a different job. Maybe over in Europe. Maybe the lure of CF Montreal is just too much that he was like, I have to quit. I've got to get to Montreal. Odd times.
It's a weird one.
And I was disappointed he got the win after that. It would have been nice if they dropped more points. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Mascherano to begin with, but you've won the MLS Cup. You deserve a bit of respect and time. But so much focus was put on them winning the Champions Cup this year. And they didn't even get as far as last year. And I think that is a big thing there for them. This was a cracking game, though. Miami went 2 up in the first half. Penalty from Messi, bit of Rami in first half stoppage time. Colorado, though, didn't lie down. Stormed back 2 goals in a 4-minute spell, either side of the hour mark for them from Navarro and Yappi. Messi won it, though, with a nice goal in the 79th minute. The game was played at Mile High Stadium in front of 75,824 fans. Second highest attendance in MLS history. And a lot of folk there for Messi, but it was nice to hear Rapids chants in the second half. When they made it 2-2, you felt the switch of the crowd and they were cheering the Rapids on. And it was like that Champions Cup game here at BC Place. Folk were there to cheer on Messi, but then once the Whitecaps got the first goal, they were behind the Whitecaps. And for me, that's the best. It's the win-win situation. The Messi fans go, they get to see their idol, they get to cheer him on. But their hometown team comes away with the victory. Didn't happen in this case, but they did give them a lot to cheer about. Dane St. Clair, not really at fault for either of the goals. He is playing forward and out of his box and was nearly caught out by being out of his box at one point. And I do feel that is going to cost Miami some goals this year if he keeps doing that.
Yeah, the first goal I remember is just his defense, just like part of like the Red Sea, or the guy just juked by him. Or whatever.
I mean, he's got a horrible defense in front of him.
But yeah,
because Colorado just took advantage of that.
Yeah, in terms of playing like further up, and like, I think I think if Dane is more a stay-at-home keeper, so maybe this is something that helps grow that part of his game.
Yeah, and there'll be learning difficulties in it.
Yeah, because in the modern game, your keeper needs to be a sweeper, right? Like they need to be able to rush out and play well with their feet.
Yeah.
We'll talk later about even the best having issues with that, but
we've spoken a lot about with Yohei Takaoka. So much the Whitecaps comes from him and his feet.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if they're wanting Dane St. Clair to try and play that kind of game. I don't see Jesse Marsh wanting him to do that at the World Cup, because you're going to get punished big time.
No, but maybe in certain segments of certain games, he'll want them to play higher because they're pressing to get back into a game or something.
Yes,
or they're intentionally like they might come out and say, okay, the opening 10 minutes or between 15 and 30 in this half, this is what we want to do. That's how we maybe want to like try and catch a team out or whatever. And so we're gonna high press more. We want a higher line, and so Dane, that means you're going to be at the top of your D or further or something, But
Miami have given up 14 goals.
Yeah, it's crazy
this season through 8 games. That defense is not good, which is obviously why they want to get like Tristan Blackman in. But both the Canadian keepers have horrible defenders in front of them, or defenses.
And Miami's scoring so many more goals that it makes it.
It's the Kevin Keegan thing. You win 5-4. Everyone goes home happy. Talking of Orlando, they went down to 1-0 defeat at home to Houston. Their woes continuing. Hector Herrera in the 75th minute, giving Houston the win. It was a quick counter. Great work by Hinalli. Some fantastic footwork to set it up. Max Crepeau makes 4 saves in this one. And it still looks a lot of work ahead before Orlando's going to turn this one around.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's it for our MLS roundup. As I mentioned, there's a slate of games during the week, midweek. Realistically, San Jose are at home to Austin. If they take anything from that and the way that they're playing, you have to imagine that they will. The Whitecaps might be going into their game not in first place against the Rapids on Saturday, but hopefully it will be by the end of that. But that's it for the MLS chat. We'll turn our attention to the Canadian Premier League for the final part of the show, and we'll be back with that after the latest track as we pay tribute to New Musical Express's iconic C86 cassette.
Hi, I'm Kyle Becker, and you're listening to the AFTN Soccer Show.
Welcome back to the AFTN Soccer Show on CITR Radio 101.9 FM. And kicking off this part, we continue to pay tribute to the 40th anniversary of Enemy's groundbreaking and influential C86 cassette, the mail order release that came out in May 1986. Loved by many and credited as the birth of indie pop, the precursor to Britpop, it was also hated by a lot of people that didn't like the jangly sound or bands that didn't really like to be associated with the C86 movement as it became. And the band you just heard there was track 18 on the cassette from a band from Manchester in England, Big Flame. That was their song New Way, Quick Wash and Brush Up with Liberation Theology. And they were one of the bands that fell into the latter of those categories. Weren't a big fan of being tagged with the C86 tag. They were a band that were a flame that burned brightly but quickly. Only around from 1983 to 1986. They released 6 singles, no albums. And thanks to some information in a book that I've mentioned a lot when we've been doing this section this year, Nige Tassel's Whatever Happened to the C86 Kids, an indie odyssey, and he speaks to all the members of the bands that he can get hold of that were on the original 22-track cassette. And for Big Flame, in their chapter in the book, it mentions the ideology, the statement of intent that the band issued. It was a 2-page hand-typed document full of youth idealism, humour, and it kind of set out a strict framework in which the band Big Flame were meant to operate so that they could provide a positive and constructive alternative to the bland and corrupt world of pop. They issued self-imposed conditions such as only release 7-inch 3-track EPs, no albums, no 12-inch singles, and they did kind of stick to that ideology. They wanted to do short live sets, ideally 9 songs over 25 minutes. The song you heard there just coming in just over a minute and a half, no encores. And they just wanted to get in, play the music, get out, release their music, and to split up. The original plan was after 3 singles, and I mentioned they released 6 overall, but it was 3 on their main record label that they were signed to. And then after that, they were done. And there's a kind of football connection. One of the band, Alan Brown, is actually the PA announcer for Doncaster Bells, the famous women's football team over in England. So that was Big Flame, track 18 on the C86 cassette, and we'll be back with track 19 in the next episode, and it's one I've been looking forward to playing, one of my favourites on the cassette, and you'll hear that next time out. So we're going to get back to the football chat now, and we're going to turn our attention to the Canadian Premier League for this last part. And full slate again this weekend. 4 games played, 2 draws on Saturday, and 2 narrow wins for teams on Sunday. Some big talking points, though, that I might have to rein Zach in a little bit here. Zach wasn't watching the VFC game live. I'd watched the first half before I left to go to the BCPL game, and then watched the second half when I got back. So I was just waiting for Zach to get round to it, for his flow of messages to come. And boy, did they come.
And then you messaged, you said, I've been waiting for these.
Yep. But we'll start with Saturday's games. And the other BC team, one of the BC teams has got a point. Isn't that nice? TSS affiliate, Pacific FC, drew with Halifax Wanderers 2-2 at Halifax. Yeah, the first point of the season for Pacific. They scored at the death in the 98th minute. Maybe that will make them feel a little bit better for giving up that winner to Supra at the death last week. And they did it with 10 men. Another sending off for Pacific after Josh Herd a stupid little kick out or a trailing leg, I don't know how you want to call it. He's your captain, he's an experienced player. You can't be doing that.
Yeah. It was moronic.
It was frustration because of some stuff that had happened earlier. Pacific were the better team in the first half. Halifax were the better one in the second. I think a draw was a fair result. Vanny's definitely going to feel that it was 2 points thrown away, even though they're still unbeaten after 3 games and 6 points. But he'll be a bit mad. Alejandro Diaz got the opener for Pacific, benefiting from this new offside rule. His whole body was offside apart from his toes.
Yeah.
But that's the rule. And you saw Marco Carducci appealing for offside. You saw the whole defence appealing for offside. It's going to take defences a bit of time to get used to this. And I can see people looking at that going, that's offside. But it's not.
Speaking of seeing Marco Carducci, that's a horrible keeper kid.
I like it.
Oh, no, it's gross.
Well, you're not going to miss him on the pitch.
The Halifax kits are sharp. This specific away kit, I don't like either, actually. I think it's...
Oh, I quite liked it. I was saying it to Caitlin when I was watching the game. But again, it's because I like that colour scheme.
I think it's one of their worst kits ever from Pacific. But, or not, maybe, yeah.
It looks... This is going to be a weird thing to say. It looks very thin because there was a lot of shots of players and you could see their nipples.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's all the Hummel kits like that or just because it's
maybe.
white.
Did you saw who got the equalizer for Halifax, eh?
Of course. I watched the whole game.
Your boy, though.
Yes. Cyprian Catchwelly, his first CPL goal.
Nice header.
1-1. Penalty made it 2-1 for Halifax. After Josh Herd, and I think this is where the frustration came from, held former Whitecap Finlander's arm as he was trying to get to the ball. And they're complaining, but it's like he's holding him back from getting to the ball. It's a clear penalty.
Yeah, it's not a...
He was frustrated, and I think that is what led to the red card.
Yeah, but...
He had a robust challenge on him as well, which I think led to the kick out. So I think it was just everything building up. But as a captain, you just can't do that.
No.
But Pacific salvaged a point of the death. Duac, nice work, danced through the Halifax defence and beautiful finish.
Yeah. Kudos to them for getting the point. Their first point of the year, right?
Yeah. And they needed a confidence boost. And we'll see where that takes them now. The other game on Saturday, battle of the top two, wasn't a classic. They kind of cancelled themselves out, as they kind of do in these games at times. Forge 0, Cavalry 0, share of the points. Forge ended with 10 men. Rezat Rama was sent off in the 56th minute. Played for over half an hour, a man down. Cavalry couldn't take advantage. They should have. Harry Payton should have had a third goal in 3 games to win it for them, but blasted over from a great position. There were some big saves from Nate Ingham in this one. In the first half in particular, Forge were stronger. Both teams, though, remain unbeaten. 3 straight clean sheets, though, for Forge to start the season. The defence is looking fantastic.
What did you think of the special strip from Forge?
I did not like it at all.
Oh, really? I don't mind the shirt itself. I don't know about the whole combo.
We've got to mention in this bit as well. Forge, they've been without Kyle Becker.
Yes.
And we wondered why. So, I mean, we spoke to Kyle on the show end of January, start of February, before their Champions Cup game. He played in those games, and we spoke about how impressed we were with his attitude and everything. And then we were like, oh, he's not been playing. I wonder if he's an injury. They haven't said. And then announced this week that Kyle Becker was diagnosed with testicular cancer, as was Marco Carducci a couple of years ago. They've caught it early. They've caught it in time. He's expected to make a full recovery. Again, the importance of just keeping an eye on such things, checking yourself, and if you feel anything, to go and get it checked out, because they've caught this in time, as Marco did, and wish nothing but the best for Kyle and wish him a very speedy and full recovery.
Yeah, I concur.
Nice little tifo banner as well from the Forge fans for Kyle for this game as well. But yeah, Get well soon, Kyle. Get back on the pitch soon as well. Sunday's games, I thought I was going to get a whole weekend of draws, and it kind of looked like it was going to be 3 from 3 as Supra hosted their first ever home game at the home of the Montreal Carabines, their home stadium, in front of 4,965 fans. This isn't going to be their main stadium. They're playing in 3 stadiums this season, and their first 2 games are going to be at this one. I obviously hate it because it's got the football markings on the pitch and all the other markings.
It does.
Awful.
It does.
Supra's been rushed into this league a little bit, as we've talked about before, so they've got to try and get venues where they can. So hopefully that's something that for season 2 onwards can get looked out. But for Supra, it was a case of the stoppage time gods giveth, and then they taketh away.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Got the winner last week in stoppage time at Pacific. Lost this week in stoppage time to Ottawa in the 93rd minute. Duhani Walker with the winning goal. Supra dominated this match. They should have had all 3 points.
Yes.
A string of top saves from Innocon in the Ottawa goal denied them. He'd been heavily criticised for some of his performances for Ottawa so far, especially in the Champions Cup games. He was brilliant in this. Still don't know if he's going to be the keeper that's going to take them to another championship or not. Ottawa definitely do not look a patch on what they were last year. But you're not going to be when you've lost the goals and the assists of Sam Salter and David Rodriguez. I mean, it was always going to be the case. Supra we talked about Bruno Caicedo, a guy that is entertaining, gets you off your feet. Loic Quemi looks like one of those players for Supra. Fun to watch, entertaining, does fancy stuff, but I think sometimes he needs to be a bit more simpler and a bit less selfish, because there was a 3-on-1 break at one point and he had 2 players to his left. He just needed to touch it inside to one of them, but he kept it and it went nowhere. And that could have been the decisive moment and the one that gave Supra 3 points at home.
Which I really wish they had gotten, because it would have been great to keep Ottawa on the bottom of the table.
Oh, that would have been so fun. Supra wanted a late penalty for a push in the box. It was an FVS review, but there was inconclusive footage, really. Because
which the topic we'll come to in the next one?
Yeah. The angle you needed was a camera from behind the goal that could have shown if it was a kick or a push. But there wasn't any such angle. It's a problem with this FVS system. I don't think they've got enough angles to give the answers needed for this.
Yeah.
And talking of which, the last game of the weekend, Inter Toronto 1, Vancouver FC 0, a soggy and then snowy and then sunny York Lions Stadium. It was a bizarre afternoon weather-wise. A 3rd straight loss for VFC to start the season. They're now in their familiar last place in the table. But, joking aside, worryingly for them, no goal scored. Yeah. Positive, 3 narrow 1-0 defeats. They should have taken things from.
In all games, they created chances that they should have scored from,
Yeah. They should have points. They shouldn't have given up some of the goals that they have.
Well, and they should have had at least a point in this game, in my opinion.
Well, Gabby Bitar scores the only goal of the game.
Did
6
he,
minutes in.
Did he, though? I don't think so.
You think it's an own goal?
No, I think it's...
right, okay, right. Well, let's... You're jumping ahead.
Sorry.
So Gabby Bitar scores the opener 6 minutes in.
Scores.
Poor Matteo Campagna clearance.
Yeah.
Comes to Bitar. It's deflected off Marcello Polisi. But we saw a bizarre situation here, because there was 2 video reviews that lasted over 5 minutes on this goal, all to decide if it hit the referee or not in the initial build-up. Now, who would know categorically if it hit the referee or not? The referee.
I beg to differ in that, but...
You don't think he would know if it hit him?
Apparently not.
I see why you're angry, because watching it live, the ball looks to deflect.
Watching it live, I knew nothing about any of this. Watching it live, literally, Kirk says it hit the referee. Like before the shot, before the goal or whatever. Like Kirk's like, yeah, hit the referee. Surely they're gonna, the play will be whistled and there'll be the free kick and whatever. And then when I watch the replays, number one, it looks like his leg goes back, and not like goes back from avoiding the ball, but it looks like as the ball, in my eyes, makes contact with his leg gets kind of jolted back while he's like on the move. The other thing, which you've already kind of talked a little about, is this angles thing is ridiculous, because my understanding, and I think Adam on the broadcast talked about this, is that, and the reason why things unfolded the way they did is that I always get the letters wrong. SVF?
FVS.
FVS. The FVS replays only give you them like whatever the broadcast is or something.
Yeah.
And so the reason why, so to answer your first question, who would know about it? The referee should know about it. However, if the officials say, hey, we need to look at this again because we think it hit you, surely would he not say right away, it didn't hit me, we don't need to look at it? Like would that, if it's true that it didn't hit him, why does he need to look at it? If you're the referee, Michael, and we say, Michael, we need to look at it again. We believe it hit your leg. You would say, we don't need to look at it again. It was my leg. It didn't hit me.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of the game. Let's keep going. That to me is mind-boggling in and of itself.
The only thing I can think is he was like, oh, I don't feel it hit me. Maybe it did, and I'm unaware that it did. I'll go and look at this. Because what we should point out is all goals now are looked at.
Yes.
Without challenges, without FVS. They're all reviewed, and then they're called over by the fourth official.
And they were called over.
Or by some guy on a telephone, as was the case in this game, bizarrely.
That was awkward, yeah. But no, he was called over because they looked at it and they're like, it hit you.
Yeah. I like, and the commentary, they're like, who's he on the phone to?
James Johnson's on them.
But yeah, so he gets called over to look at it. He looks at it. It takes about over 3 minutes to look at it. And then he's like, no, it's a goal. And then Martin Nash twirls his finger in the air to play his challenge card.
But do you know why?
I do know why, because they have different cameras.
Exactly. They have a different camera. They have a different camera system watching this. They can see, they have an iPad there. They can see these different angles, and they're like, yeah, we can see clear and obviously this hit you, dude. And then I think the silent reporter even said, I swear it didn't hit me. Again, it's just, to me, that's awkward. It's a whole awkward. The fact that you looked at it to see if it hit you, and you just shouldn't say, I'm the authority in this game. It didn't hit me. You have to watch the thing and then say, oh, no, it didn't hit me. It's just not, it's not good.
I think he genuinely thinks it didn't hit him, that he didn't actually feel it. But what I want to say,
he didn't actually feel it. Then when you watch the thing, you can see the way the ball changes direction.
But see, that is the thing. It does change direction, but it could also be a curl from the pass.
I don't think
because with the crappy footage, because they zoom right in and then it's grainy and pixelated, for me, I don't categorically see 100% it hit him. My eyes are telling me I think it's hit him, but I can't actually 100% say, yeah, I'm categorically sure that hit him.
All I know
is he doesn't know that it hit him himself.
For Vancouver Football Club, this system was meant to be brought in to avoid them getting screwed in these types of ways.
Not just them.
No, but again, talking about it from their perspective.
Yeah.
I think, and now they'll feel like they've been screwed by it yet again.
The angles, they need better cameras. They need more cameras. If the coaching staff...
Why can't they have the angles of the coaching staff?
If the coaching staff have that, FVS should have that.
I agree.
What I would say, though, is it was a stupid challenge from Martin Nash
I
because
disagree.
he's only going to look at the same footage again.
I disagree, though, because I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think Martin Nash is saying, look, I've seen it. We've seen it. We know it hits you. I think you're making a mistake here. I'm playing the card here.
But if he's just looked at it for 3.5 minutes, what's he going to see that he didn't see in the previous 3.5 minutes? Because he's going to look like an idiot then if he goes back and says, "Oh no, it just hit me."
You notice they did zoom in.
Yeah, but you can't see because it's so grainy, and these are like HD or 4K cameras or whatever.
Anyway, to me, it was pretty ridiculous.
But it was a challenge then that it was costly because they ran out of challenges in the end, which we'll come
But
to.
honestly, though, Michael, the one time they could have called it late, the one time I feel they could have called it later, I can't remember who it was now, but I don't think that referee was going to give that as a penalty.
No, I don't think it was conclusive either.
Well, I don't even if it was a penalty, and I'm not saying it was, I don't think that referee was going to give it as a penalty.
Well, Nash did use his second challenge at the start of the second half for a chip and Ba on the box, and he played it because Ba was adamant that he was caught and told them right away to challenge it.
Yeah.
And again, there is not a conclusive angle. You needed the camera from behind to show.
You need to be able to see the hands in the back or whatever. Yeah.
And if you've not got those cameras, it kind of makes some of these challenges pointless because the camera's just not picking things up. But because they lost both challenges, I think there was 2 potential penalty shouts. The first one, I don't even think commentators picked up on this. I can't even remember who went down, but he didn't have the ball, but he was kind of taken out of the play and the ball could have been passed to him for a shot. And then there was the later one, which I think it maybe was Ba again, and there was maybe arms on him, but I don't think it had been conclusive enough. But
okay, so the other issue that came out of this, which again feels ridiculous, unless there's something I don't understand about losing a challenge, is the amount of time that took, in and of itself, regardless of everything else that happened in the half.
Well, I timed it. It was 5.5 minutes.
Yeah. So how much time should they have given? At least 6, probably.
It was it was 5.5 minutes from the ball going into the back of the net to the game restarting. So again, even if you allow 30 seconds for the celebration, it was 5 minutes.
Yeah. So
and they added on 4.
They added on 4 to the half. That was gross incompetence.
I when it came up, I was like, what?
Yeah, it was shocking. And let me just be clear. I thought the officiating overall was poor in this game.
Oh yeah, for both teams.
For both teams. Like Tom, like I texted you, Tom Field probably should have got a yellow card for that shoulder barge, outside the field of play after the ball had gone into touch, where he nails the guy into the boards. I think that's justifies a yellow card.
Yep.
Right. There were multiple things against VFC that weren't given, or fouls against them that didn't produce cards that, again, I clearly thought they should have. Neither
of us were able to get on Nash's post game. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, so it'll be interesting his thoughts on everything.
And we were talking about commentators too. John Conway is very.
Yeah, just say it. John Conway is a terrible commentator. And as I've said several times, any commentator that uses offsides, plural, as a phrase should not be commentating. Yeah. But on top of that, you've got another valid.
Yeah. No, I think the offsides thing just shows a lack of like. I don't mind if he did it before and he's like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't do that because that's not actually proper. But it shows either some kind of ignorance or arrogance or both, and it's really unprofessional.
Yeah.
And speaking of unprofessionalism, it's really awkward when you have a dude who is paid to do this. Then when a break in play, I can't remember which break in play it was, make the comment of, "Hey, what are those 3 things on the back of the Inter Toronto jersey?" This dude is paid to read these press releases and to prepare for these matches and to know about these teams, and he like is outing himself in the broadcast, being like, I don't understand what they've done on the back of their jersey. Can someone, hey, Adam Jenkins, can you explain it to me? It was very unprofessional and showed that he is not prepared to do his job well. And it's really, really unfortunate because we've talked so much about how much the CPL, the NSL, all these things are meant to grow the football infrastructure and provide more opportunities for Canadian. And John Conway, I know he's married to a Canadian, but he's not Canadian. And he's taken a job from a Canadian. And there's a lot of young broadcasters who could probably do a much better job. Some we know, one of them could be you. Although you're also like John Conway, not Canadian. But I mean, you're Canadian now. You're Canadian now.
I am now. Like in all seriousness, I know I'm not the best commentator in the world, but I put a hell of a lot of effort. I spend a couple of hours on my game prep for BCPL games, for college games. It's like I get paid way less money than he'll be getting for this, but I put that work in during the week of a couple of hours so that I know what I'm talking about and I don't come across as like, well, how did this guy get the job?
And let me be clear, I have nothing against John Conway as a person. I'm not like,
I've never met him. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I wonder how he got the job.
The nepotism part of it, it does play. I assume plays a role. Although lots of people say it doesn't, but it's hard to ignore. But no, so I have nothing against him personally. It's not like I have a vendetta against the guy or I don't like him or he played for TFC and like, I don't know. No, I have nothing against him. I just don't think he's doing his job adequately, and it's disappointing because that's the type of job where there would be, I think, a very long line of people who would really, really give their all to have that job and do it well.
If you look at some of the veteran players in the league that will be retiring, a Kyle Becker, it's like he's the kind of guy you'd want to hear on commentary. Lives and breathes the game, played it, Canadian, would do the research.
Aside from the nepotism, you feel like his major qualification is he played the game at a good level.
Yeah, he was a goalkeeper as well.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't want to be too.
I know we're in ranty mode now.
Yeah.
We started in a depressing tone. Now we're just angry and ranting.
Yeah.
Let's finish the CPL thing by mentioning at the end of this weekend, Cavalry are top, but there's 4 unbeaten teams. They're level on points with Forge. Halifax Wanderers and Inter Toronto are also unbeaten from their first 4 games. Pacific and Vancouver, both still looking for their first wins. Vancouver still looking for their first point, but a lot of football still to be played. The last thing I want to say about Vancouver FC, they badly need a striker, a finisher.
Yeah. Let's get, can we get save the caps? Can we get a Rayan Elloumi on loan to the Eagles? Hashtag or something?
Can we get Lys Musset fit?
Yeah, that's a problem. Oh, I mean, Kirk and I were just like, what's wrong with Babishkov? Because he was really fun to watch in preseason.
Funny you should say that, and that will tie in the last thing we'll talk about here, which is BCPL. So Babishkov looked really good for Langley United on loan in their first game of the season. Didn't play in their second game, and then hasn't been around VFC. So I don't know. Maybe he's picked an injury up.
He had some issues even in coming out of the last preseason game, which has kept him, I know, out of the squad for the first 2 home games.
But he's played for Langley since in that game.
I think he played for Langley
scored
between those. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I know he was. It was like, I think it's kind of like a niggly type deal. But
and then we had Vitor and Musset.
Yeah.
Who played for Langley in the last game, scored 3 goals between them. Vitor looked tremendous.
Yeah.
I thought, surely he's going to get on the bench.
No, Nash, I mean, to Nash's credit, he tried something different this game, at least a little bit, where he took off Mosqueda and Taryn and put Fotzing at the 10, which, I love Fotzing, and he really pressed really well. And
Kieran Proctor, I thought,
Kieran Proctor came
positions.
In, but Traore is the other guy who got the start.
Yes,
out on the flank, and I thought he was okay. I was a little surprised he came off, or he stayed on, and Baugh came off. And I was a little disappointed, obviously, that Emmerich came off when he did. I would like to see him go longer. The one thing I will say about Vancouver FC in terms of the positive, it's unfortunate. 3 1-0 losses on the trot. No points, no goals. There's a lot to be concerned and frustrated about there, even if you put the officiating to one side. But the one thing which I think is quite different than the first 3 seasons is the resiliency, is the kind of no one's heads going down and they just keep going. You look at the end of the game with, Callum Irvin going up for the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Getting his head on it. Them keeping possession
running 80 yards to get back.
Them losing possession and him, that massive run to get a foot in to knock the ball and to touch, which ended the game. But
I mean, that should have been 2-0. That was terrible.
Yeah.
From Toronto.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I mentioned Langley United, BCPL there. Just want to mention, if you are free on Wednesday evening, get along to Swangard Stadium. 8:30 kickoff for the men, 6 o'clock for the women. It's TSS Rovers against Langley. It's only week 4 of the BCPL season, but already this feels like a game on the men's side that could determine where the championship goes this year. Whoever takes the points in these games, these are the 2 teams that's going to be battling it out once again at the top of the table.
Because they're also 2 teams with something else in common.
Yes, they're the 2 teams that's got the partnership agreements with the 2 BC CPL sides, Langley with Vancouver FC. I fully expect to see Vitor, maybe Musette, maybe Bibishkov as well, maybe playing for Langley. You can have 3 players loaned down. TSS, I've known this for a couple of weeks, but couldn't make mention of it till it was official. So today, we could mention that they've signed a partnership agreement with Pacific. They had 2 Pacific players in their win over Altitude today who looked very good as well. Valles and Schiavone. Schiavone got the 3rd goal in that 3-1 win. So that should be a really good game at Swangard on Wednesday evening. 8:30 kickoff. Get along if you can. And I said this to start the show. We'll say it to end it. Support local soccer. But that's pretty much it for this episode. We'll finish, as always, with this episode's wavelength. And I've mentioned this before. When Scotland's in a World Cup, we embrace it, especially when we've not been in one since 1998. And what that means is lots of World Cup songs. In 1978, there was probably approaching 20 different World Cup songs for that game. They're starting to come out now, more and more, for Scotland. I've played a couple already this month. Went away last week, we played an English one. We're back to a Scottish one that was released this week from a band. They're called Bucks Brave Hearts. They're basically been put together just to release a World Cup single. One of the guys in the band is Craig Telfer, who is a well-known Scottish podcaster, has a show, View from the Terrace, on BBC Scotland as well. And this is their song, which is celebrating Scotland getting to the World Cup and that extraordinary victory over Denmark in November, and looking forward to the summer to come. This is Bucks Brave Hearts, Scotland's on the way.
Ireland. So we have to stand firm in the face of this. Tierney's only half away. Dorgu 2-2. The 10-man level for the second time tonight. And Scotland's lead lasted 4 minutes this time. It was an absolute dagger.
93 was on the clock. Suis was the score. And 3 November night was waiting on a hammer draw. Kieran Tierney made it 3, and Slipper is a 1. But Kenny made it 4, and now we're going across the bumper singing, hey ho, here we go, Scotland's on the way. To Canada, to Mexico, through the USA. McTominay is magic, we got Super John McGill. Oh, we love to see the Scotland, and we love to see them win. We're gonna storm your city.
Bucks Bravehearts, Scotland's on the way. And I'm sure we'll have a few more Scottish songs to play before the World Cup kicks off. We need folk to do some Canadian songs. And there is going to be a Canada Soccer Canadian album. If it's going to be anything like the FIFA album, though, Zach, I'm probably not going to be playing the songs on the show.
I still have the 2006 FIFA album, which a couple of songs are enjoyable.
Well, I haven't heard the second song that's been released officially off the album yet, but the first one from Jelly Roll, and a lot of folk have said this, it sounds like it's from a truck commercial, and someone put it to a truck commercial, and it fits perfectly.
Oh, I don't even know if that's the one, but someone sent me who was it? Someone sent me a thing today of, let's see if I can see it here real quick. Oh,
folk have been asking me, are we going to play those songs at Wavelength, and the answer is no.
Jeremy McBride sent me a reel or whatever. It's like, you tear your ACL, and the guy's like on the ground, like in pain, like whatever. And then it says, but the new World Cup song starts playing. And then the guy jumps up, he goes over and he shuts off his phone. And then he goes back on the ground and starts rolling around in pain.
I will say I heard two brilliant football songs this week, Canadian, that we won't feature in the first half of the year because we're just doing World Cup songs up until the tournament's over. But there's an official NSL song from one of the, I think Montreal Roses, it might have been a Halifax player, but one of the NSL players has done a song, and it's really good.
Oh, cool.
And Supra's brought a song out as well from a lot of local musicians, and it is also really good.
Oh, nice.
So we'll be playing those two songs later on in the year. But if you do find any good World Cup songs that aren't AI, and it is a bit hard sometimes to work it out, basically if there's a video for it with actual real humans, that helps. We'll play them on the show till about mid-July. But that is it for this episode of the show. Before we go though, Zach, any final thoughts from yourself?
Yeah, shout out to Poppy. Kendall Wasson scored in the Clásico against Alajuelense in a 1-1 draw. And they won a cup last week. I forgot to follow up in which actual cup it is, but they won a cup last week down at Saprissa. And then, yeah, it was a crazy week for football. Did you? And I told you.
Oh no, I haven't had a chance to watch the Bayern game yet.
Okay, you need to watch those highlights.
I will.
I will spoil some of it for you now, but not as bad.
I know the score. I know the.
No, but okay, yeah, I mean, I won't spoil. You need to watch
Madrid tears.
Yeah, it was. I don't know how many people who listen to our podcast are Real Madrid fans, so I don't say this to just. I'm not saying this just to whatever get at anyone, but. They're really an embarrassing lot. The way that they handle themselves and the way they've allowed their club to function. This year, you talk about running a coach out of town. They ran Xabi Alonso out of town because he actually gave them structure. He gave them guidelines for a team, what it means to be a team, how to treat each other, how to treat him, how to respect the game and whatever. And I'm not saying Xabi Alonso is perfect or anything. They ran him out of town needlessly. They've been crap this year. Like in the league, they're not going to win anything. They didn't win the cup. That's the cup. Spanish Cup's actually an interesting story we don't have time for today, but check out stories about that if you can. Real Sociedad, their display, what it meant to do it against Atletico Madrid. Really interesting story. But anyways, no, just the way that they have over these last few years, especially, they've gotten worse and worse at how they carry themselves and how they handle themselves. The disgrace that they displayed a few years ago, I don't really care about the Ballon d'Or. Like, I have my own issues with the Ballon d'Or going back to COVID, and even actually before that. But that a few years ago, the Ballon d'Or, when they felt like Vinny Jr. should have gotten it and he wasn't getting it, so the whole team and all their officials decided we're not going to the ceremony. It was embarrassing and disgraceful. The way they ran Alonso out of town, I think, disgraceful. And the way they handled things in this game and the way they have responded after it are absolutely disgraceful. There is, in culture in general, I think in our global culture in general, there's an inability to, we've talked about this before, Michael, inability to hold up your hand and say, hey, I made a mistake. I didn't do my best. I missed this. I made an error, whatever. And to take that, to own that. And like, once again, you see this from Real Madrid. The crying, the whining, the comments, the lack of comments, the stuff that they've come out of them after this game where they feel like Camavinga shouldn't have been sent off when the dude picked up the ball and walked away from the play and the referee gave him a second yellow card for delaying the game. You only can blame Camavinga for putting himself in that position, for doing that. And it's really crazy because in that game, if you want to objectively go through the refereeing decisions, there are far more decisions that if you're a Bayern Munich fan, you're infuriated by. There's a foul on the lead up to one of their goals that is not given, that sees the player subbed off at halftime, and including there's some comment around that took place that we'll see if anything comes from that, from Antonio Ruga towards Josip Stanisic. What was the other? There was one or two other really big plays in that game that the referee clearly. The free kick. There's a free kick goal. When you watch it, it's not a free kick, Michael. You watch it back and you tell me, when you watch the highlights, it's not a free kick. And it's a free kick is given, and Real Madrid scores from the free kick. It was crazy. I
just put the highlights on just now as you're talking to get to the red card bit.
Yeah.
He runs away with the ball to delay the game.
Yeah.
I don't see how you have a complaint in that.
And his other yellow card was legit as well. So yeah, the way that they've handled this is frankly embarrassing. For a club that's supposed to be like, yeah, this is their competition and they go out and win it, and the way they've responded to their defeat and their justified defeat, and a defeat in both legs, where Bayern Munich in the first leg didn't get a penalty at the end of the game when they should have also gotten one. It's really, 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 really sad. And it doesn't help the growth of the game in the right way. There's lots of kids who look up to all their stars and all their players and see this behavior, and it's just sad. It's just unfortunate. It's one of the questions I haven't asked. If I was going to ask something to Bruno the other day, I would have asked about, like, how do you see you're obviously you're doing a job, you're playing a game that you love, you're with a group of people you hopefully enjoy being with, but then the whole, not just the entertainment side of things, I don't like to think about in that, but the inspiration side of things, the way you get to inspire a group of people in a stadium, young people, old people who love your club. Like, it's so
people back home in your country as well.
Yes. It's so meaningful on so many levels. And I think Real Madrid have just been really, really just pathetic in how they've responded to this defeat. And I honestly, I'd like to. I'm not just saying this because Bayern is my first love in club football and I'm a member and whatever. I would say this if it was if it was another club, even if it was like someone like Dead Bull, I'd be like, you have to objectively look at this and like be able to say like, yeah, okay, this is what happened, and it's kind of crazy.
It's funny you saying about behaviour, because like today in the English Premier, it was Man City Arsenal, big top of the table clash, and I've no love for Man City.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on, the financial irregularities, all that stuff. But the way that Arsenal have conducted themselves this year, particularly their fan base, who are some of the most obnoxious out there, I was rooting for Man City today, and I was like, oh, I'm glad they won. I hope Arsenal mess this up.
Kirk said the same thing, although I haven't seen all the highlights or whatever, but I did enjoy the goal that Man City gave up, because obviously I'm not really a huge fan of Donnarumma.
Yes. I mean, that was hilarious as well. And if Tottenham go down, I'll be absolutely delighted. And on that happy note, since we started on a sad note, that'll wrap up this episode of the show. We'll be back with another one soon, hopefully chatting about another Whitecaps win as they keep first place in MLS. Until next time, have a great week, everybody. Get out and see some local football if you can, at whatever level that you can. And we'll be back with another one soon. Mon the Caps!
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. if you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.